Hello, everyone. Welcome live to 3Y TV. Tonight's broadcast of the Drive for Charity Secret Families Charity Christmas Race. I am Peter Short, and joining me in the booth here tonight is none other than Bob Giaquinto. And Bob, great to be here at Talladega, and of course, great to be here at Talladega with a very special event, this charity event here tonight. And there's a link in the description for all of you people who would like to donate to the cause, but all these drivers here from the Total Nonstop Racing League and the National Sim Racing Association coming together for a good cause here tonight.
Absolutely. Tonight's race is going to be benefiting the Secret Families Christmas Charity Race, and both of these leagues have been putting together some money to donate to the charity, and it's just such a fantastic cause to get some families and really have them celebrate Christmas and have some gifts under the tree for impoverished families that otherwise wouldn't be able to have this. So just a fantastic cause to get behind, and it's always great to give back, but especially during the holidays.
Yeah, absolutely. And folks, for all of you people wondering, all of the sponsors you'll see in the top left-hand corner of the screen, they are all sponsors of this event. They've all donated to help put together some of this event. And I'll tell you what, Bob, over $800 going into tonight has been raised by this race. It definitely is very awesome to see here as we're about to jump over into the qualifying session. The practice session has come to a close if you're following what's going on down there on the racetrack. But so many people coming together to make this event possible.
For sure. It's so awesome to see all of these great sponsors come together and really put in some money for a great cause. With over $800 going into these families, I mean, you really just can't beat it. The generosity of all of these people taken together, as you see the logos up here on the screen, it's phenomenal, and I'm so happy to be a part of such a great event.
Yeah, we're going to be mentioning those sponsors here quite a bit tonight. Of course, the National Sim Racing Association, Total Nonstop Racing League, both of those leagues putting together money to go towards this event. Not only are they hosting it, but they are also donating money towards it. We got NEPA Dent Repair, NEPA Cornhole, also Thornton Graphix, of course, sponsored the Thornton Graphix Cup in the Total Nonstop Racing League here on 3Y TV. Max Graphics, Brookstone Animal Hospital, What's the Scoop? Garrett's Auto Sales, Rocket City Custom PCs, DRP Dunn Raceway Park, Indoor Off-Road RC Racing, Choman's Care, and Darling Decor. So we'll give them a shout-out quite a bit as the race goes on. But meanwhile, we have cars out there on the racetrack going to try and put in their qualifying time. We see the number 50 right here, Bill Edwards. I'll tell you what, a little Grinchy-looking number 50 machine out there here tonight in this Christmas charity event. A couple of Christmas schemes out there on the racetrack here tonight. It'll be fun to see for 100 laps, 266 miles around this 2.66 mile racetrack.
Yeah, for sure. Some great holiday-themed paint schemes here. I was looking at a few of them in the chat before the race was getting underway, and man, I'm excited to see some of these. Not only that, but some great Total Nonstop Racing schemes here as we see Mike Floppy Tellier coming across the line here in this Total Nonstop Racing car.
Yeah, there's the number 42 there, Barry Knapp, working his way around the racetrack. Great to have him out here in that Tim Richmond, number 42 Folgers paint scheme. That's a good one. Speaking of Tims, how about Tim Hammond in the number 69 mobile? There he is. A new look on that ride this week. That was actually put together by one of our sponsors for tonight's race. Max Graphics put together that number 69, and it is a hot-looking ride for him as he comes out of turn number 4. Going to come to the tri-oval here, and one thing you always talk about here when you come to Talladega is that tri-oval, because the race can be won or lost past it. There you see Jeff Wyatt in another one of those Christmas schemes.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this race really can be won or lost after that tri-oval. And, watching any NASCAR race on TV at Talladega, it gets hammered in, it's past the start-finish line is past the tri-oval. But really, those last lap passes, a lot of them come in and start getting set up through that tri-oval. So really anything can happen here at Talladega. And those extra couple hundred feet really could make a difference tonight.
And tell you what, it is going to be a fairly long race here tonight. Let's go down to the chat. We have a lot of people in the chat here tonight. Great to have all of you joining us here on 3Y TV. We've got Colin Ullery, Tana Himmelman, the Windsors, Jeffrey Johnson Jr., Ben Adams, K. Pitty, How's it going, Kyle? Johnny Williams, Anne Marie, and Garrett Gleason in the chat. Garrett Gleason with a special shout out saying thanks to everyone who supported this joint venture to make it a great cause. And it definitely is, Garrett. Thanks for putting this together as we continue to watch this Christmas schemed number 86, Jeff Wyatt, going 6th position on the board. Also want to give a shout out here tonight to J.R. Miller, who's currently out there on the racetrack. He's actually the only driver, I believe, in tonight's field, Bob, who's not a part of the Total Nonstop Racing League or the National Sim Racing Association, but he heard about this event. He wanted to be a part of it. There was an entry fee for this event. Of course, that money going towards charity, and there he is in that number 78, working his way around the racetrack right here. Going to be a little bit difficult for him to get a fast lap in, as there's only 48 seconds left here in qualifying. But as you and I know, qualifying not a whole lot of importance here at Talladega.
Yeah, for sure. Really, it's not at all about where you start, but obviously where you finish here at Talladega. But it's all about staying in the draft, staying out of the big one, and keeping the front of your car nice and clean, nice and aerodynamic, and really just surviving 100 laps here at Talladega.
And currently atop the board is the number 9 machine of James Orello. If you've been watching the National Sim Racing Association here on 3 Wide TV, you will know that number 9 has been on an absolute tear in the Simbox Truck Series here on Friday nights. He's won, I believe, 5 races so far this season in that series. So already atop the board here tonight. Right behind him is Jordan Scheffler in the number 13 machine. But as you can see, J.R. Miller disappears because the checkered flag has been thrown here on the qualifying session. Not everyone qualified here, Bob, but definitely going to be a very strong field for tonight's event.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really looking forward to it. Two of the best and two of some of the best iRacing leagues here on the service between the National Sim Racing Association and Total Nonstop Racing. Man, I'm just excited to get things going here as they're getting ready to get down on the grid and get the starting grid going.
I'll see if we can go down and see if we can figure out who is going to walk away with tonight's pole award. And there you see it, the other Grinch scheme in the race here tonight. That would be the number 9 of James Orello starting on the pole here tonight. Let's see if, Bob, if you can take it away with the rest of tonight's starting lineup.
Absolutely. Well, like you said, the 9 of James Lorello on the pole in the number 9 machine. On his outside, the number 13 of Jordan Scheffler. Now on row 2 in third, 97 of Mike Floppy Tellier in third, and fourth outside of him, the 8 of Philip Scott. Starting in the 5th position, the 69 machine of Tim Hammond, and outside of him, the 55 of Stephen Dosiak Jr. In 7th, the 22 of Joe Balestros, and on the outside of row number 4, starting in 8th, is the double 8, 88 of Michael Mooney. On the inside of row 5, the 86 of Jeff Wyatt, and outside of him, starting 10th, is the 40 of Nicholas Bradley.
Yeah, and then on row number 6 on the inside is the number 35 of Joe Heater. Of course, got Total Nonstop Racing on the hood. To his outside, Jeffrey Johnson Jr. He was in the chat here just a little while ago, but now he is out there on the racetrack. On the inside of row number 7 is the number 50 of Bill Edwards, a driver who is a part of both leagues, believe it or not. Bill Edwards going to be starting on the inside of row number 7 with Barry Knapp in the 42 to his outside. On the inside of row number 7, the number 57, row number 8, Joshua Sobel in the 57 machine. Joshua Sobel usually driving a truck on the Simbox Truck Series. We'll see him here tonight in the Cup cars. And Jason Gracias, the points champion of the Total Nonstop Racing League this past season. It just wrapped up last Monday here on 3 Wide TV. He'll be starting in the 16th position. On row number 9, the first car is not to take time, and on the inside, Jason Freeman in the number 20 with Jeff Price in the number 14 to his outside in 18th. And rounding out the top 20 here, Bob, is JT Poole in the 26 and Ben Mashburn in the 24.
Now taking a look here at row number 11 on the inside, the number 971 of Nathan Moner. He's in 21st position. And on his outside, the 47 of Chris Darling starting 22nd. Taking a look at row number 12 right now on the inside, the 6 of Doug Milner. And outside of him, the number 4 of Andrew Himmelman starting 24th. Next in row number 13, starting on the inside, the 25th position, number 98, Tristan Maher. And on his outside, J.R. Miller in the 78, starting in 26th. Next in row number 14, starting 27th, the 7 of Garrett Gleason, and on his outside, the 16 of Brian Bradley in 28th. Next in row number 15, the 85 of Zach Howell, starting on the inside, and rounding out the top 30 is the 83 of Austin Grover.
And starting at the back of the field on row number 16, Matt Monticelli, Tony Lucarelli, they start at 31st and 32nd. And in fact, they will be the last two cars to start here tonight. So 32 cars set to take the green flag here tonight, Bob, for 100 laps here around the Talladega Superspeedway. We go back up to the front because the green flag is going to drop here for the start of the Drive for Charity 266 here at Talladega. We thank all of you for joining us here tonight in the chat. Make sure you make yourself heard because we want to hear you as the engines roar at Talladega. Green flag.
Good, clean restart so far as the field makes its way into turn number 1. Nose to tail here on the inside, a little bit more formed down on the bottom as these cars are starting to get up through the gears. Here's Mike Floppy Tellier on the back of the number 9 machine getting a quick push. And Tellier looks to quickly go out towards the outside and take a peek for the lead.
Side by side for the race lead, that number 97, a little bit of connection issues there with the help from Philip Scott, one of those other Total Nonstop Racing League drivers. We're going to see a lot of them in tonight's field because that was one of the things is that the league paid their entry fees if they ran Total Nonstop Racing on the hood. And so that was one of the ways Total Nonstop Racing is giving back to tonight's charity. You see the 97, the 8, also Steven Doziak there in the 55. He runs the National Sim Racing Association Simbox Truck Series as well. Meanwhile, James Lorello, your points leader in the Simbox Truck Series, is tonight's race leader with the number 69 of Tim Hammond right behind him. And look at that 22 of Ballesteros sitting there, third car on the inside groove as we're green flag through the first lap.
Yeah, right now it's looking like a battle between the National Sim Racing Association and Total Nonstop Racing Leagues on the inside and the outside. Philip Scott and Mike Floppy Tellier on the outside pushing for TNR, and National Sim Racing Association of Orello, Hammond, and Ballesteros down on the inside.
Yeah, and as you can kind of see, the first, I'd say first 25 cars or so are kind of up there in the lead pack. Meanwhile, we do have a couple of cars kind of laying back. We'll see what's going on back there. You see a couple of them working their way through the tri-oval, led by the number 47 there, Chris Darling. There's Andrew Himmelman back behind them with Tristan Maher in that number 98. They're just kind of riding here, Bob. They don't really have to push here at this point of the race because, you don't want to push too early in this race and get caught up in a big accident.
Yeah, for sure, especially with how racy that front pack is going to get. You're obviously not going to win the race here on lap 3. Sometimes it's the better strategy to either lead the race or stay far enough back out of that lead pack so in case there is a big wreck, you can at least have a little bit better of a chance to avoid it and keep your car clean and keep going.
Now look at them all fan out here through the tri-oval. Still the number 9 of Lorello continues to lead right over the Ballesteros there. Yeah, in the 22's got himself up into second. Meanwhile, that high line starting to break up just a little bit here. And I'm sure we'll see that high line kind of ebb and flow. A couple of the Total Nonstop Racing League cars there lined up behind the number 69 of Hammond. The first number 35. He's the first of the Total Nonstop Racing League cars. He's bright pink here tonight, kind of sporting an October vibe for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. That's how TNR went with their logo. They went all pink. But here tonight, that number 35, trying to get a top 5, if not a win with these cars. But I'll tell you what, Bob, we talk about how difficult it is to drive these cars week in, week out here on 3Wide TV. These Cup cars kind of have a different type of difficulty, especially here on the super speedways. And as we watch this gyro cam here, watch that rear spoiler of the car in front here. That's Joshua Sobel there in the number 57 as we ride on board with the 14 here of Jeff Price. That number 57, you can't see through the car. You can just kind of see maybe one car ahead, Bob, but you can't see directly through. You can't see 3 or 4 cars ahead like you can with like the trucks. But here, you got to look at that car in front of you, and you got to figure out what's going on in front of them by what the car in front is doing. And sometimes that can lead to problems.
For sure. I mean, this is one of those things where you really have to hope that the guy in front of you knows exactly where he's going, especially if a car in front of him slows down, blows up something, that he's able to react in time, and you're able to react in time to react to how they react to whatever's happening. So you're not wadding up your car, and just you have to have a lot of faith in the guy in front of you to follow wherever they're going.
So up at the front, James Orello, who's led 4 of the first 5 laps, continues to lead, but here comes the 69 of Tim Hammond trying to push for the race lead himself with a little bit of help from the number 97. No, that's a car off the pace. That's Tony Lucarelli, and something must have happened to that car right there. A lot of front-end damage. We didn't see what happened. Unfortunately, it must have happened quite some time ago here, Bob, because he's already being shown 4 laps off the pace in that race car, so I don't think we'll be able to go back and get a replay of it. That is a tough break here in the early run-in for Tony Lucarelli.
Yeah, it's going to be a long race for Tony, as 4 laps down already, a whole ton of damage to the front end of his total nonstop racing machine. Man, it's a shame. He had some pretty decent speed there in practice, able to keep up with the crew, but unfortunately, not going to work out for him in his favor tonight.
Yeah, bear with us, folks. While we try and figure out exactly what happened to Lucarelli, it's going to take us a little bit because we have to go back a couple of laps to figure it out. And laps here at Talladega, they're no slouches. That's for goodness sake. It's actually happened here, Bob, on the race start. Watch him back there, top of your screen there, running right behind, I think that's 83 of Austin Grover. And there's a stack up in front, and Grover runs into the back of the 16, and just like that, the 14 gets turned up into the outside wall. And just an accordion effect back there. And that is going to be a tough break. And now we see the 41 here of Lucarelli. He's running right behind the car that he ran into. That's the number 16 there, Brian Bradley. You see right there that TRD, Toyota Racing Development Toyota, running down the backstretch. You can see that rear end damage on the back of that 16 car. So that's definitely not what you want to have happen, and also not a good way to start this 100-lap race.
Yeah, for sure. And, I'm not as knowledgeable about how the aero is going to work here in iRacing, but having the back end all wadded up like that cannot be good for aerodynamics. It's almost like it could, act as a giant parachute, really slowing down and adding a whole bunch of drag to the back of that 16. So it's going to be interesting here when the first caution does come out, if it were to come out, what exactly they'll be able to do to that car.
Yeah, absolutely. Meanwhile, back up at the front, James Orello continues to lead. He's now led all but 1 lap still. The only other driver to lead a lap was the number 69 of Tim Hammond, who was able to get to the stripe first pretty early on. But Orello here out front. I'll tell you what, Bob, there's 2 different strategies to this race that I like to say. One is you try and be in front of the big one, and the second one is you want to be so far behind the big one that you can check up in time for the big one. And so far, Orello's doing the first one and doing it very well.
Yeah, Orello doing a great job right now, showing a commanding lead, but some great teamwork there between him and the 22 of Balestros. Some great pushing and nothing super aggressive. They know, hey, look, we're only 10 laps into this race. There's still plenty of racing to go. If you want to lead in front, I have no problem pushing you, and it'll put me in a great position to get that lead later on in the race if things stay green.
Absolutely. Well, you can see where all the drivers are on the left-hand side of your screen. Folks, definitely check out the links in the description here tonight if you want to see a little bit more of the National Sim Racing Association, and, of course, donate to the charities here tonight. Gotta say, it's fantastic here tonight that we do have the Secret Families Christmas charity being represented in the Drive for Charity 266. And of course, we keep mentioning Total Nonstop Racing and the National Sim Racing Association. If you're just now joining, this race is kind of a collaboration between both of those series. And you know what? It's just great to do it at this time of the year. I know National Sim Racing Association has a lot of racing left, but the Total Nonstop Racing League just finished as we have a new race leader. Speaking of Total Nonstop Racing League, they just finished a week ago, and now one of those TNR sponsored cars is out front with the 8 of Philip Scott.
Yeah, Philip Scott getting a great big push there by the 97 of Mike Tellier, able to get him into the lead from the outside. Great move around, and the 9 and the 22 really had nothing that they could do around him. And here's Bill Edwards, another mixture of TNR and National Sim Racing Association drivers pushing the front two towards the front.
Yeah, so we got Philip Scott, Mike Floppy Tellier out front. Then we have the number 50 of Edwards and Bill Edwards and the number 9 of Orello. Those are two teammates. They're sporting the two Grinch mobiles here tonight. I think that's what we'll call them, the S2R Grinches, with that number 50 and the number 9. And then Ballesteros, who's been up there in the top 5 for the good portion of the first 12 laps or so, as they will complete lap number 12 this time by. And then you have Jeff Wyatt, Michael Mooney up there in 7th. I'm sure he wants to have a good run here tonight. And then looking a little bit further back, we have Jordan Scheffler. We got Josh Sobel there in 9th, and now the 69 of Tim Hammond. He's dropped down to 10th, but we've had now just 3 leaders in the first 13 laps as Philip Scott flashes across the start-finish line to lead his second one of the night.
And the one thing that's looking really great to me is the ability that these drivers have to push but not be too aggressive where you're getting the guy in front of you all out of shape. Some great pushing and great drafting here early on.
Absolutely. Let's see, as things start to go a little bit to single file, they're upwards of 190 miles an hour. There we go, a little bit further back in this lead pack. Pretty much all single file through this lead group of cars, which is I'm not all too surprised to see until you get all the way back here. That's the number 1 machine of Jason Gracias leading that outside train. He's got the number 20 right behind him. That is Jason Freeman, as well as the number 98 of Tristan Maher. They're trying to make up ground using that high lane. A little bit difficult to do so when it's just 3 cars up there versus 15 to 20 on the inside groove. But they're trying to get their way towards the front here as they work lap number 14. You see them all kind of fan out down the front stretch. Here we go. Riding on board with the number 20 of Freeman. As you can see just outside the nose, you can't just see all too much from that position. Here we go on board with the number 1 who's right in front of him. There's Nathan Maurer in the 971 Simbox Chevrolet. Of course, Simbox, the sponsor of the Simbox Truck Series here on Friday night on 3Y TV. It's that outside line. Looks like they've got a little bit of steam here, trying to pick up some spots. There's the number 26, the JT Poole, the old Jamie McFlurry. Yes, that's what I used to call him, Jamie McFlurry throwback there. Of course, he was sponsored by McDonald's for so many years, so it made sense that you'd call him Jamie McFlurry. But now it looks like JT's going to jump to the top side, block Jason Gracias, and I'm not too sure Gracias will be too happy with that. But now Poole going to drop back down to the inside groove. Maybe he thought that move was a little bit too late. Maybe he's just trying to play the lines back there. But this is the battle for the 16th position or so.
Yeah, really a big momentum killer there against Gracias. Now Gracias able to get a little bit of a push coming through the corner here as they get back up towards the front straightaway. But man, that has got to be so frustrating when you have such a great run. You're getting a great push behind you. You have another guy jump up in front of you, block. That slows you down and then pushes you back a little bit. It's got to be so frustrating for these drivers.
And now that outside group of cars, led by the number 1 of Gracias, now closing into the back of the 69 of Hammond. Are they going to go with Hammond? No, they're just going to jump to the top side. A little bit of an interesting move there. I would have thought that they would have tried to add to their numbers, but they just said, you know what? We have a full head of steam. We want to use it. And they're, contact, and the 98's going around, and he's still trying to go around. What a save. I think someone is slow off the back. That's Jeff Price, and we got cars up in the wall, and we're under caution for the first time here tonight.
Man, it looks like just a bit of a bump draft gone wrong as a couple guys got together, sent the 14 and the 98 sideways into one another, but let's see and take a look what happened here.
We're going to put it down into slow motion. The 20 tries to give the 1 a bump. That's the Penn State number 20 right there. Gives him a bump, goes wrong, gets squirrely. Then the 98 gets contact, and that's Jeff Price in the 14 who went flying down into the inside of the racetrack. Just absolutely nowhere to go for the 14. Comes up the racetrack, hits the 4 of Himmelman, and there's Garrett Gleason with nowhere to go, but Gleason kind of clips on through him, so Gleason might walk away as the lucky duck. Oh no, that's an engine that has gone on the number 7 of Gleason's machine. Now the big question is going to be whether or not they're going to be able to come down and get that repaired or not on these race cars here at this point of the race. But that could be a day done here for the number 7 machine as well as the number 14 of Jeff Price.
Man, that's got to be so frustrating if you're Jeff Price, because you're sitting there on the bottom lane minding your own business, and you have a guy just get into trouble, get into the wall, and then come sideways down the track right into you and sending you to the inside retaining wall. It's got to just be so devastating because, he was having a pretty good race so far, just kind of cruising around towards the middle of the pack. But unfortunately, bad luck struck.
Yeah, these drivers, 0 fast repairs. If you're used to the Total Nonstop Racing League here that we broadcast on 3Y TV, you know that they get 1 fast repair in that one. But here tonight, 0 fast repairs. Let's see if we can check in on the number 4 of Andrew Himmelman. He was one of those drivers who got a piece of that one. From the front end, doesn't look all too bad. We'll have to see if we can get a look kind of off the back end and then see exactly how damaged that race car is. Everything's looking pretty good. Hopefully that's the case. We'll see if we can get a look off the nose here of the number 98. Yeah, you see a little bit of left rear damage on the number 4. Could be worse, though, for Andrew Himmelman, all things considered, with that contact that he just had there. Looks like the number 83 of Austin Grover going to stay out here. There's the number 97, Mike Tellier. I think he was the first one off pit road with a 2-tire pit stop nonetheless behind that Ford Mustang iRacing pace car. But while we have this moment here under caution, Bob, of course, we want to thank our sponsors here tonight that put this race together. You see all their logos in the top left-hand corner of your screen. You got Garrett Auto Sales flashing across, Max Graphics there, Total Nonstop Racing, the National Sim Racing Association, NEPA Dent Repair, NEPA Cornhole, Thornton Graphix, Max Graphics, Brookstone Animal Hospital, What's the Scoop, Rocket City Custom PCs, Dunn Raceway Park, Choman's Care, and Darling Decor. Big shout out to them, all raising cohesively as a team over $800 for this race here tonight.
Man, Peter, that is just absolutely fantastic. $800 plus going to the Secret Family's Christmas charity. That's just so awesome. I'm really at a loss for words, because this charity really helps impoverished and underappreciated families be able to get that Christmas and that holiday for their kids that they otherwise wouldn't have been able to provide. And that's just so awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, we're getting some word that Jeff Price has gone to the garage in that number 14 machine, which you never want to see here on lap number 18 of 100 here tonight. But a good job by the field to get through the first 18 laps caution-free. Well, first 17 laps or so caution-free until we had the first one strike of the night. For all of you people watching at home, this is the first and only caution flag of the night, and we thank you for joining us here on 3Y TV. Tana Himmelman, I know, feeling upset for Andrew Himmelman's luck there. It seems like Andrew Himmelman has been having quite a bad luck streak here on 3Y TV in the Simbox Truck Series, and unfortunately it doesn't seem to be able to shake it here tonight. Also, Kyle Geveshausen, I know he's upset with that accident, taking out a couple of the Total Nonstop Racing drivers, including the league owner and organizer of the Total Nonstop Racing League, Garrett Gleason. So that number 7 with a blown motor, we'll have to see whether or not he can get back out there on the racetrack, but at least for now, Jeff Price in the number 14 is not out there on the racetrack. Tony Lucarelli in the 41, we saw him get one of his lucky dogs back. And of course, because of the fact that we do, of course, do the Simbox Truck Series, big shout out to one of our series sponsors here tonight. One of our race sponsors, I should say, Brookstone Animal Hospital. They sponsor the Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Award, and there you see Tony Lucarelli getting waved around the pace car one more time, so he's a double lucky dog, if you will, here under this caution flag. And big shout out to Brookstone Animal Hospital, located just outside Atlanta, Georgia. So if you're in the greater Atlanta, Georgia area and you're watching our stream here tonight, we want to welcome you. And of course, go check out our friends over at Brookstone Animal Hospital for all your animal hospital needs. But that man right there, 41 Lucarelli, he might be an unlucky dog because he's got a little bit of front-end damage there, Bob, but lucky because he's getting one of his laps back.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, he was 4 laps down. Now he's going to be down 3. Still plenty of time to go. And if, history serves to repeat itself. Cautions breed cautions, and after a couple more, if he stays on this pace, who knows? He might be able to get the lead back, and with some more guys falling out, it really still has a chance.
Meanwhile, back up at the front of the field, the pace car has headed down pit road, and the green flag is in the flagman's hand, and it's James Orello and the number 97 of Mike Floppy Tellier who will get us back to green here shortly. It looks like a Tellier already on the loud pedal on that inside groove as they start to sort things out. Philip Scott back behind him here up at the front. Restart looks pretty tame here.
Yeah, fantastic restart there by the 97, able to get the jump on the 9 of Lorello. Lorello, though, has got his teammate Bill Edwards right behind him, giving him a bit of a push. So we'll see if maybe the TNR guys got a little bit too far out as the field gets up through the gears, down through the back straightaway.
Here we are on board with Bill Edwards. Edwards giving Lorello a shot halfway down the back. Are they going to make a run for the race lead as they go off into turn number 3? Not able to do so. Just a little bit too far back to make that move. But at least for now, they're going to stick together out there on the racetrack and as a team probably work together. I know that's... I used to like the word that Darrell Waltrip used to say, Bobby. He used to say it, coopetition here at Talladega. You have to cooperate with all the cars out there on the racetrack to try and get in the right position. But at the end of the day, it is still a competition. You still got to get to the checkered flag first. But to finish first you must finish. And I'm sure a lot of these drivers will have that in mind here as we've now gotten past the first 20 laps. So 20 laps down, 80 more to go here at Dega.
Yeah, Peter, that's the perfect way to describe this with the coopetition. You know, you've got your teammates, but at the end of the day, when there's a couple laps left, I'm giving it all I can to get that win. And, you know, you might be teammates for 99 laps, but that last lap, it's all about me and trying to get myself the win.
Looking a little bit further back in the pack, we got one car up there, and it is the one car. How about that? Number 1 of Jason Gracias again trying to use that high line to his advantage. There he is, got the number 6 of Doug Milliner there to his inside, and there is that number 6, and right behind him is Andrew Himmelman. And so far, looks like Andrew Himmelman been able to hold on to this lead back pretty well. We go on board with him right here. So far, so good for that number 4 car after receiving a little bit of damage from the one and only caution flag that we've had here tonight.
Yeah, good for him. You know, when I saw that damage that they had on the back, I wasn't really sure how it's going to affect the aerodynamics of the car, but I mean, hey, Himmelman's able to stay with this lead pack, stay in the draft, and, you know, everything so far so good.
So far, so good as you ride on board with him right here in 23rd position. We do have a car peeling off the racetrack right now. I think that was the number 7 of Garrett Gleason, who was able to get back out on the racetrack after he had a blown motor. But meanwhile, back up at the front of the field, you're not missing anything because it is still the 97 and the number 8 continuing to lead their way around this racetrack here at Talladega. Over the number 9 and the number 50, the 2 S2R teammates. And back there, you also got Michael Mooney and Jeff Wyatt sporting very similar paint schemes, and separating those two. And the 22 of Ballesteros is the number 13 of Jordan Shepler. Good job by Shepler here in the early going. Been pretty strong as we're pretty much single file here, Bob, through the first 23 cars or so now.
Yeah, for sure, and you know, we're still fairly early on in the race, only about a quarter of the way done. It really doesn't make sense for these guys to be up front chopping back and forth trying to get the lead, because there's still plenty of racing left. There's still plenty of cautions left. I'm sure we'll see more. You know, right now it's all just about conserving your stuff, conserving what you've got, feeling out the car, and just kind of letting it ride around for a bit.
And there you see pretty much the whole field is Ballesteros now in the number 22. Looks like he's starting to get a little bit racy up there, trying to make a move on that high line to get around the 2 S2R teammates. But the bad news for that 22, no one looks to be going with him at this point of the race. Maybe a little bit later, I'll expect to see all those dicey moves happening in the final 10 laps of tonight's event. But that number 22 still holding strong by himself out there, as now he kind of moves up the racetrack a little bit. Bob, I kind of expect him to do as much side drafting as he can, as he's the only car up there. You see Jordan Shepler now pulls level. That will move Shepler into the top 5. But really, that 22 not doing much side drafting, and there's no cars out there, so he will continue to slide back if no one cares to pick him up.
Yeah, he's starting to get freight chained a bit out there. He's got a couple of guys right there in the high lane. I believe that's the 69 of Hammond and a couple other guys a little bit further back in the pack. But if he's not able to jump down into that bottom lane soon, he's just going to start sinking like a rock.
Yeah, you see him right there. Now he's all the way down to around the 7th position, as I think that was Jeff Wyatt having some connection issues as well. Boy, that was almost a big moment there with Joshua Sobel and the 86 of Wyatt. Man, connection issues here at Dega. You do not want to have that if you're one of these sim racers. We always talk about that, Bob, that here in sim racing, you don't have part failures all too often. You can blow a motor in iRacing, but you don't have other things happen all too often. It looks like Wyatt here going to pull off the racetrack down onto the apron and let the field all go by and watch that connection issues very closely. But you can have connection trouble. You can either drop out of the race. Let's say your internet has a hiccup, or you lose power or something like that. That can knock you out of a race very quickly, Bob. It's happened to me. It's happened to every sim racer. And hardware failures. That's another thing. I've seen so many drivers over the years have hardware failures in the middle of a race. Their PC blue screens, their wheel breaks, or their wheel flies off their table. That one's happened to me. Sim racing is its own beast. You have its own troubles. Some of them you kind of scoff at a little bit because, yeah, they are kind of funny. But they do happen in sim racing, and hopefully none of that happens here, as it looks like that number 86, he's dropped back to the back of the pack, and it seems like everything is settled out for him. Meanwhile, up at the front, things are not settled out, because here comes the 9 and the 50 working together to try and get back to the race lead. But remember, that number 9 led a lot of laps so far here tonight. He's led 9. That number is equaled by the car to his inside, the number 97 of Mike Floppy Tellier. But can the 50 and the 9 clear the number 97? It sure looks like they have. And looks like through the tri-oval, down to the bottom of the racetrack they go.
Yeah, and a great move there. Great push by the 50 of Edwards to get Orello up towards the front. A couple of Grinchy cars going towards the front here in this Christmas charity race. But, man, they're out to steal this race, and they're doing a great job doing it.
Yeah, and it looks like the number 41 there, Tony Lucarelli, all by himself. No cars to draft with, and with that front end damage, he's just going to fall down one of the laps he just got back a little while ago from the Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Award. But on the outside, there's the number 98, Tristan Maher, now leading that group. And remember, Bob, he was involved in that one and only accident that we had now about 12 laps ago or so. So good job so far for that number 98. Doesn't look like his damage hurt him all too much, as he continues to lead that outside group with Tim Hammond in the 69 behind him.
Yeah, so far so good. It looks like the guys behind him are starting to line up a little bit more, maybe try to get some momentum behind the 98 of Maher and try to push him up towards the front. But out of nowhere, these guys are starting to get a little more racy here as the laps just start ticking down.
And in the chat, Jeff Price has said never fails. And I'm sure he is ruining his bad luck here tonight at Talladega. I think Jeff Price has had rotten luck at every super speedway we've been to so far this year in the National Sim Racing Association. So hopefully you can bounce back in the next one. I'll just say that. Your luck has to turn around at some point on these races. And nonetheless, we appreciate you stopping by in the 3Y TV chat and making some noise. It seems like we got Fernando Matos as well, of course, a longtime friend of the 3Y TV channel. And Fernando from the Atlanta, Georgia area saying, go ATL, repping Atlanta. Of course, Fernando Matos goes back to the first ever league that we broadcasted here on 3Y TV a couple of years ago, this Impossible Racing League. And great to have him in the chat here tonight. Meanwhile, up at the front, it is still the number 9 of Orello as things go back to single file. And Bob, seems like they got really racy there for a couple of laps, and now things have kind of quieted back down since the 9 and the 30 were able to get down in front of the 97 and the 8. So we've seen these two Grinches lead. We've seen the TNR cars lead. And now it's just the Grinch's turn.
Yeah, just some back and forth sharing of the lead. Obviously not something you'd expect the Grinch to do, but hey, you know what? It's 2020, anything can happen at this point. But, some fantastic racing that we've seen so far here tonight. Lots of great moves and some very clean racing as well. The bump drafting isn't getting out of hand or anything like that. And, so far about a third through the race, looking pretty good.
You're right on board with the 5th place car right now. That is Jordan Scheffler looking out front at the back of the number 8 of Philip Scott, just kind of waiting for him to make another move. I'm sure it will come. We just have to kind of wait for that next surge, if you will. But I know, Bob, I was thinking about the fuel load that these drivers have, because here tonight they have 80% fuel limit. And I know from my races in iRacing over the years at super speedways, these drivers can go just about 35 laps or so on a full tank of fuel. So you take away about 7 laps from that to bring it down to about 80% fuel. I think we'll be seeing cars about 25 to 28 laps into a run. And if we bring up our info up at the top of the screen, you can see we're about halfway to that point. Just now working 15 laps on this set of tires for the whole field. Of course, we won't see all too many 4-tire pit stops in tonight's race, as Talladega not too bad on the tires. And, you know, you don't need tires all too much. You're flat out pretty much all the way around this racetrack, unless you're mid-pack and having to fiddle around with the throttle to stay off the car in front of you. But at least for tires, you don't use a lot of Goodyear rubber here. So we'll see mostly 2-tire pit stops, and I'm sure a lot of drivers throughout this field will be thinking about that here in about the 10 to 12 laps from now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, it's really not about handling per se for the tires. It's more of an aero handling track, obviously, with Talladega and the bump drafting. As we see here now, a bit of a battle for the lead between the 97 of Tellier and the 9 of Orello.
Yeah, that outside groove of the 9 and the number 8, they were locked together. They tried to make a charge for it, trying to get a little bit of help now from the 22 of Ballesteros there on the right-hand side of the screen. But the number 97 and the number 98, we've seen them locked together for pretty much the first third of the race, as we now enter into the second third of tonight's 266-mile Drive for Charity event. Of course, up at the top of the screen, you can see the link that you can type into your browser to help donate for the Secret Families charity. Make sure you do that before tonight's end. And the number 8 got to the outside of the number 97, and now they're going to all trickle back throughout the field. You could kind of see that accordion effect happen there, Bob, because the 8 and the 97, they became detached. The 97 almost going 3 wide there on entry into turn number 3, and then all the other cars had to check up, because I think Philip Scott checked up to try and let the 97 back up, and now that outside line really detached, but Tellier still able to lead the lap.
Yeah, big accordion effect. There's, the 97 and the 8 dive down in front of the 9 of Orello. Wow, look at that. I didn't expect to see that one. I thought they were going to stay up towards the high side. They chop down and are able to take the lead and get in front of the longer line.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we saw the 30 and the 9 do about 10 laps ago or so. And now the roles have reversed. Now the number 97 going to lead once again. He's now led 10 laps here tonight. Orello has led 16, so we'll continue to watch that battle for the most laps led between the two. Meanwhile, that outside line starting to form up once again, led by Ballesteros in the number 22, but here comes Joe Heater, the number 78 of J.R. Miller, and the number 69 of Tim Hammond.
Yeah, Ballesteros has been quietly in the top 10 for pretty much the entire race here, doing a great job keeping his car clean, staying in the right lanes, staying in the right draft, and he's doing a good job now, pushing up. Still scored now in second.
Here we are on board with Tristan Maher in the number 98 machine, looking at the back of the number 69 of Tim Hammond. You can kind of see, folks, we've talked about that rear spoiler and how difficult it is to see through it, but just watch how much these cars move down the backstretch. I mean, we talk about how it's just pretty much flat out. Yeah, you might fiddle around with the throttle and kind of roll out of it to avoid bump drafting the car in front of you, because bump drafting isn't always a thing. And how about that? Tristan Maher going to just drive to the inside there, the middle groove of the number 69 of Hammond, and that was really tight, How about that? Almost making contact going off into turn number 1. I'm not sure if the 69 wasn't too happy with Maher there, as Maher split him 3 wide, but meanwhile up in front of him, look at Jason Gracias in the number 1. There he is, going to the outside of the 78 of Miller, as this outside line has really gotten up battling for the race lead.
Man, that was tight there. Here's Jason Gracias now on the outside of these drivers, looking to make it 3 wide for the lead. He's just trying to get a little bit more help. He's trying to hope to see if his Total Nonstop Racing league teammate here in the 98 of Mayhurst tries to jump up top, and he does. He's got the 69 of Hammond, but the one goes down the block on the inside, I believe, of the 78 of Miller.
Yeah, so things really heating up here. Meanwhile, Tellier continues to lead the race after that was all said and done. Now, where's Gracias going to go? Is he going to go with the 22, or is he going to slide up the racetrack? Looks like he's going to slide up the racetrack, going to take him 3 wide. I thought he was going to go with him. Now what about Philip Scott? Is Philip Scott going to go with that high groove? What about Joe Heater in the number 35? Things really starting to get dicey up here at the front on lap number 38.
Man, Heater just snuck by on the inside of the 22 of Ballesteros. Now it's a TNR top 3 with Ballesteros down, spoiling the party there in 4th for TNR.
You see the whole field go racing past our camera in turn number 4. Man, so fast that we couldn't even catch the front half of the pack. As everyone, you see them all flash across the start-finish line here. Look at all of those cars go. Fantastic job by the whole field. In fact, our lead pack here, Bob, is only 4 seconds from first back to the last car in the pack, and that's Jeffrey Johnson Jr. just kind of laying back, trying to keep his car nice and clean. Meanwhile, at the front, looks like the 97 and the number 8. Whoa. Joe Heater there in the 35. A little bit erratic there on the backstretch, kind of zigzagging between the lines. You see that inside groove kind of break up because of it. Tim Hammond now in the 69, stuck to the outside. Things really starting to get dicey.
Man, where did Tristan Mayer come from? Out of nowhere. It looked like he was towards the top lane there and just popped himself there in 3rd place. But, man, just some fantastic racing here at the front of the pack.
Meanwhile, the 2 cars dropping towards the back of the pack include the 9 of Orello and the 50 of Edwards. Maybe they have seen that erratic driving and said, you know what, I don't want to have a part of that just yet. I want to keep my number 9 and number 50 nice and clean for later in the race. And they're dropped back pretty much outside the top 20 even. That's how far they've fallen here in this field. But meanwhile, back up at the front where it's a little bit more racy and slicey and dicey, it's still the number 97, and that outside groove still up there with the 69 of Hammond. Got to give credit to Hammond. He's really been trying to make that outside groove work, trying to get people to go with him. Just hasn't been able to find the right pusher to push him up to the front. Now he has Michael Mooney, I believe, in that number 88 machine right behind him. And how about the number 86 of Jeff Wyatt now working his way back towards the front? Remember, Bob, he had that connection issue a little while ago where he blinked out, dropped to the back of the pack. Seems like it's all stabilized, and time to get racy here as we close in on the halfway mark.
Yeah, for sure. And another thing these drivers are going to have to keep an eye out for is we're coming up on green flag pit stops. Like you had mentioned, 25 to 28 laps or so they can do on a tank of fuel here with an 80% fuel load. And, well, that caution came out right just after probably around lap 16, lap 17. So I'm sure guys like Lamarillo trying to roll back a little bit, stay out of the pack because they're not sure how these guys are going to do getting onto pit road. I'm sure they're trying to lay back a little bit, try to avoid a wreck, and keep themselves clean as we're getting ready to look at green flag pit stops soon.
Yeah, green flag pit stops will be coming soon. There's the whole field racing past the digger cam here at Talladega. And I'm looking at the count. You can see it up there at the top of the screen. We're now getting to that point where I said, oh man, Michael Mooney there getting really close to the back bumper of the 69 mobile. I said around 26 to 28 laps, somewhere in that window. We're now at 25. So really, I'd expect to see cars on pit road either this time, next time, the time after, or the time after that. And one thing you have to think about, Bob, is maybe trying to find a little bit of space with the other cars. You don't want to have everyone come down pit road at the same time, because if you do that, it just sets you up for the possibility of a huge accident coming down pit road. So maybe you want to stagger a little bit. Maybe you're part of a group, like the 97 and the number 98. You are in a good position to come down pit road. And as long as you can stay together with one of those other cars, going down pit road by yourselves, you can kind of manage the space and get on pit road nice and hard, but nice and clean, nice and smooth. And sometimes that's better than coming down in a giant pack.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the only thing worse than coming down in a gigantic pack is probably coming down by yourself. You're not going to have any drafting help. You're not going to have anyone pushing you once you get back up to speed. So, it's going to be interesting to see how these drivers are able to communicate with each other. Obviously, with it being virtual racing, you can't stick your hand out the window and let the guy know behind you, hey, I'm coming by this lap, I'm coming in this lap. You really got to get on the driver's chat and say, hey, guys, I'm pitting, get ready, watch out, and just kind of hope you don't get ran over from behind, because like we were saying earlier, Peter, you really cannot see anyone aside from the car in front of you.
Yeah, you said it best. You can't really see, so finding a little bit of space is important. Meanwhile, all these drivers go around for yet another lap here. That number 69 up there now, Tim Hammond in that black and green machine. Great looking ride. Of course, one of the race sponsors, Max Graphics, I believe, put together that race car. Will we see cars on pit road this time? No, we will not. So we go another lap, and that will be 28 laps or so as Ballesteros. They're going to split Joe Heater and the 69 of Hammond. So I think now it's been 28 laps. Now, granted, we did have a lap or two under caution, so that might help with that magic pit number. We'll just have to wait. We'll just have to wait and see when these cars finally head down to their pit crews. Looking back in the pack to make sure no one else is pitted, but also keeping an eye on the chat here tonight. We got RC Planes in the chat. Caitlin Swisher, where is number 13? Number 13. Where is number 13? There is the number 13, of course, right there on your screen. Jordan Scheffler in the outside groove. Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, we got a bunch of pit stops happening, led by, I think, the number 97 mobile of Mike Floppy Tellier. So here we go, lap number 28. Whoa, man, a couple of cars towards the back of the pack slowing down there very rapidly, including the number 9 of Orello. But this is what I said, lap number 28. This is when these cars are coming down pit road.
Yeah, for sure. And when you're coming down pit road, you don't want to be like one of those guys further back in the pack where they locked up the tires, really flat spotted them, because then you're going to have to change tires. You don't want to have that vibration as you get back up to speed. Obviously tires aren't as important here as they would be, say, at like in Atlanta or Rockingham or another track like that. But, here at Talladega, you have to keep the tires round at least, and you don't want to flat spot them.
And here comes the number 22, Drew Ballesteros. We have a couple of cars electing to stay out, but another small gaggle of cars. Tim Hammond on pit road. We got J.R. Miller on pit road. Also, looks like Barry Knapp back there. Is that Brian Bradley? Yes, it is. The Toyota Racing Development Toyota. So they're all going to come to their pit crew. And one thing that we've talked about here on the Super Speedways, Bob, many, many times here on 3Y TV is the fact that on these Super Speedways, you do not want to get a speeding penalty. You do not want to slide through your pit box, because both of those could spell disaster. There's no contact! The 88 of Michael Mooney involved, and that's going to bring out a caution, no doubt. Nathan Maurer involved. Yes, caution flag is out, but this all happened here during a pit cycle, and that's not what you want to have happen. It was 3 wide for the race lead. Was this net code? I think it was net code. The 88 and the 971, there was a little bit of contact there. And yeah, that's full on net code. Right there. That is not what you want to have happen. The 13, Jordan Scheffler getting a piece of it. Nicholas Bradley might have gotten a piece of it. Nathan Maurer, heavy contact in that sim box machine.
Man, just a tough break there. Really everyone minding their own business, and just netcode strikes here as we get an onboard view of this wreck.
Yeah, there's that contact, and all of a sudden I think Michael Mooney just got turned. We're riding on board here with the number 24 machine of we're riding on board with Nathan Maurer, excuse me. But that is just not what you want to have happen here at Talladega. That is absolutely a disaster. And we're going to get one more look of this and watch the 88 machine. And we're going to put this in slow motion, folks. This is what we call net code in sim racing. There's no contact between the 971 or the 24. And you kind of see the 88 just kind of jumps. There's no contact. The car just all of a sudden just gets launched up into the air a little bit, and then it's on from there. How about JT Poole and Jason Gracias just barely squeaking through that? Oh, there might have been contact there with the 86 machine. of Jeff Wyatt, but Wyatt able to save it. How about that? Excuse me, that was was that the 24 or was that the 47? They got a piece of it. I think it was the 24. Yes, it was. Ben Mashburn, and the 47 of Darling, very similar paint schemes. But that is going to bring out the caution flag. Only the second caution flag here tonight. But unfortunately coming at a very inopportune time for a couple of these drivers.
Yeah, definitely a tough break, especially midway through the pit cycle. But I want to give a shout out there to the 47 of Chris Darling. I don't know if he got into the into the inside wall there, as we see him flash across the screen there. But man, what a great job of both the 26 and the one of Jason Gracias to stay out of that wreck and not get collected up into it as well.
Yeah, we got to get an onboard here with the driver of the number 86 machine, Jeff Wyatt, who made a stellar save. Watch this all go down from his onboard. There's the number 1 of Gracias, who was just barely able to squeak on through, and he gets contact, able to steer into it. He made that look easy. He made that look dead easy in that 86 machine. That's not easy, folks, when you're going 180 miles an hour at Talladega.
Yeah, for sure. I know if I was in the driver's seat there, my car would have been in the outside wall, flipped over probably about 10 times, and I'd just be out of the race already.
And there is the 86 machine in his pit box trying to get some of that damage repaired. There's his teammate, the number 88 to the right side. That's Michael Mooney. And unfortunately for Mooney, that looks like to be terminal damage on that race car. Nathan Maurer also appears to have terminal damage here at Talladega. But while we're under this caution here, Bob, of course, we want to mention the sponsors here tonight. And I got to say, great job by all of those sponsors to put this race together and to raise money for a good cause.
Yeah, for sure. All the money that they're able to raise, which last we looked was over $800 going to the Secret Families charity. We're doing the Secret Families Christmas charity Drive for Charity race tonight. But man, all of these great sponsors that you see up here on the screen able to donate money for tonight's race. And, it's just so awesome that all of these people from all across the country able to put money together and help out a great cause.
Absolutely. We have 4 cars currently in the garage. Nathan Maurer, Tony Lucarelli, Garrett Gleason, and Jeff Price. We'll see if any more cars enter the garage. Michael Mooney has yet to move in his car. But one thing I was looking at here just a minute ago is I left the graphic up too long. One thing I was looking at just a little while ago was pit stops. And some of the drivers got pit road speeding penalties. And I believe one of those drivers was the number 97, Mike Tellier, in his car, because Tellier, there he is, dropping to the tail end of the longest line again. He's actually being scored 1 lap down, and that's not good for the man here tonight who's led the most laps. He's led 20 in all, and he's going to be 1 lap down for this restart upcoming.
For sure, it's a tough break. I mean, at least he was able to have the caution come out where he's, tailing the longest line in a lap down. Whereas, if this had stayed green, he would have been at least 1 lap down, possibly more. And he would have been out of the draft because he would have had to come down and take another drive-through penalty. So at least it's a little bit of a silver lining if you're a fan of Mike Floppy Tellier, but still just a tough break for him.
Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on his recovery in the back half of the race, as we will be halfway this time by 133 miles into the Drive for Charity 266. Want to thank everyone joining us here in the 3Y TV chat. We just eclipsed 700 viewers, and got to say, very awesome to see just a couple of nights ago us tick over 700, and I think we're now at 702. So if you don't follow us here on 3Y TV, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the action here. Of course, we broadcast the Total Nonstop Racing League on Monday nights. They just finished their season, so it'll be a while before we see them in action again. But of course, the Simbox Truck Series for the National Sim Racing Association on Friday nights. And a lot of these drivers in both of those series. Meanwhile, up at the front, the pace car has headed down pit road, and the number 1 machine, your Total Nonstop Racing Thornton Graphix Cup Series champion, will be leading us to the green flag.
Yeah, and Jason Gracias knows a thing or two about winning here at Talladega. He won the Total Nonstop Racing League race here at Talladega about a month or two ago. So he knows something about these super speedway restrictor plate races, and here he comes jumping up in front of the 8 of Philip Scott as the green flag flies.
Green flag is out, and we are back to racing. Meanwhile, the number 1 of Gracias, he's just going to pull to the high side here, and he's let Philip Scott get to the race lead with Joe Heater from behind. Look at Orello and Edwards. Those two cars, Bob, we were talking about them falling back through the pack. They must have had a fantastic pit stop because now they're back inside the top 10 and top 5 even, as the 69 of Hammond, once again, he's showing his muscle in that high groove, trying to get up towards the front.
Yeah, we've seen the 9 and the 50 drafting with each other, the 8 and the 97, but really a pair that we haven't really talked too much about is the 69 of Hammond and the 22 of Balestros, doing a great job pushing each other, as looks like they're going to try to push for the lead at the line.
And they are going to lead at the line. How about that? That number 69 going to lead the lap, and I believe that's not the first lap he's led here tonight. That's actually his second time he has led in this race. Mike Tellier's led 20, James Orello 16, Philip Scott's led 7, Jason Gracias 4, and then you find Tim Hammond, and Austin Grover's also led a lap under a caution flag. So I believe we've had 6 different leaders here in the first 50 laps, which is a little low for Talladega, but this field has been pretty calm, pretty good. Only 2 cautions in the first 50 laps.
Yeah, only a couple of cautions in the first 50 laps, but I mean, some great racing that we've seen here. A lot of give and take between these drivers. Obviously, that patience is going to run out as we get towards the end of the race, but I mean, some great job pushing, receiving pushes, and really just great racing overall.
Yeah, you see that race summary down there. 12 lead changes here tonight at Talladega Super Speedway, and the leader right now, Tim Hammond, also has the fastest lap time of 47.831 as they start to go 2 by 2 a little bit further back. But let's talk about the current weather situation, because we haven't talked about that here tonight, Bob. Very high track temperature, 125 degrees Fahrenheit. I know these cars are pretty glued to the ground, but when you have that high track temperature here in iRacing, when your car starts to get a little bit sideways, it's very difficult to catch it.
Yeah, for sure. It's so tough to save this car with how slick the track is, which makes that save by the 86 of Jeff Wyatt in that last caution so much more impressive.
And there you see the 47 of Chris Darling. He's now up towards the front of the field. And I'll tell you what, Bob, Chris Darling in that number 47 machine I think that's Philip Scott there going down below the apron. Not sure if he's just trying to drop back towards the back of the pack. Yeah, it looks like he's going to come back out onto the racing surface there above that yellow line. Not sure if he did that on purpose or not. But going back to the number 47 of Chris Darling up there at the front of the field, he wasn't even thinking about racing here tonight. He was going to be the out-of-race admin, and then everyone said, dude, come on, get in the race car. Let's go race. Let's go have some fun. And go have some fun for a good cause. And he's out there right now running inside the top 5. The third car on the inside groove is Jordan Shepler, and the number 13 machine works his way back out onto the racetrack. Unfortunately for that number 13, he is multiple laps down. I know we have a couple Jordan Shepler fans in the chat. So that number 13 with the damage from that last accident, there he is trying to stay with the lead pack. Hopefully he can catch that draft and won't fall another lap down. I gotta say, that number 13 doesn't look too badly damaged. Is that a car going around? Not sure. I saw a lot of smoke there and possibly some tire smoke, but I didn't see anything go on. We'll see if we can see exactly what happened and see if there was any type of contact that led to anything. I think that was just iRacing doing iRacing things, and we will stay green, no issues. And meanwhile, down the backstretch, it looks like a traffic jam down the backstretch, because the 22 of Ballesteros has gotten to the race lead with a push from the 47 of Darling, but they are 3 wide back behind them.
Man, yeah, nothing like some rush hour traffic at 190 miles an hour plus, as man, what a great push there by the 47 to Darling, able to get Ballesteros up to the lead. Now what was 3 wide, now looking single file for the first 3, and then double file, and just a bit of a gaggle further back here in the pack.
Meanwhile, up at the front, here comes Chris Darling in the 47. He will take the race lead for the first time here tonight. But look at the 69 and the 97 on that high line. Remember, that number 69 has led a couple laps here. Oh, JT Poole in the 26 has blown up. The 26, that engine has grenaded behind the 47 of Chris Darling. He pushed him to the lead. He might have pushed him a little bit too much. Not enough air in the front radiator of that Crown Royal Irwin Tools Ford, and that engine has gone pop.
Man, such a tough break here for the 26. Had a great run so far earlier on in this race, but just a little bit too much pushing, didn't get quite enough air into the engine, and unfortunately his day is going to be done.
So JT Poole, one of the next cars to fall by the wayside, will now be up, I think, to, by my count, 5 retirements. Michael Mooney still sitting in his pit box trying to get that car fixed. We'll see whether or not Michael Mooney can make it back out onto the racetrack here tonight, or whether or not he is enjoying a nice cold beverage and will join us in the 3Y TV chat. We'll have to wait for that. Always great to have Michael Mooney in the chat with his banter. We were bantered a little bit. We shared the racetrack earlier this weekend, and gotta say, a lot of fun. We did 4 hours of Silverstone together, Michael Mooney and I. We're in 2 separate cars, but it was fun to hear Michael throughout that race. But here, back at Talladega, it is the 47 as Darling. Whoa, that looked a little hairy back there. The 69 machine again almost getting involved in that one. That was really, really tight there. Let's see if we can go back and get a look at that one.
As one of the comments in the YouTube chat here on 3Y TV says, oof, as, man, that was just such a tight squeeze there as the 97 got down into the 90 or the 69, caught the apron a little bit, and oh, wow, that would have been an absolute disaster for the rest of the field had they not been able to save it.
Yeah, and you see that outside line lost a little bit of momentum, but Hammond able to stay up there inside the top 3. Now he's going to jump to the high side, and here comes Ballesteros, but here comes Joe Heater in the 1 of Gracias. Those 6 cars up at the front trying to figure out what line to go with, and now the 35 and the 1 really backing out. Not sure if there's any problems there with the number 35 of Heater, but all of a sudden, that outside line really, really had to check up as... wow, there's the 6 of Milliner now going down the bottom side as the racetrack is there. We see the number 85 of Zach Cowell. Haven't really mentioned his name all too much here tonight. Of course, he races in the National Sim Racing Association's Friday Night Simbox Truck Series. Great to see him out here. Very similar look to the truck that he runs on Friday nights. But here, of course, with these Cup cars. And gotta say, I've really liked that almost midnight blue on that 85 machine.
Yeah, very, very pretty looking design, and from a distance it looks a little bit like the Dale Jarrett Ford Quality Care Ride back in the late 90s. So, always a fan of that machine, and great looking car here out on the track.
And we ride it on board with him here with the helmet cam. Racing down the backstretch, there's Jason Freeman, Penn State on the back of that number 20 machine right in front of him, and then you can kind of see the lead pack of cars still dueling things out in front of them. Got to give a shout out to Joshua Sobel. Not quite sure if his dad is in the chat here tonight. Josh's dad, if you're in the chat, make yourself heard, because Sobel's now got himself up into the top 5, running right behind Chris Darling, Ballesteros, and the car that's out front right now, folks. If you're looking at the live timing and scoring over there and you're trying to figure out why there's a car out front that's not the race leader, that of course being the number 97 of Mike Floppy Tellier, it's because Tellier is actually on the tail end of the lead lap. I believe he got a speeding penalty under the green flag pit stops that we had about 20 laps ago now or so, and he fell 1 lap down, and now he's getting a little bit of help there from Ballesteros in the 22, trying to get his lap back the old-fashioned way in that number 97.
And trying to do it the hard way here is obviously you're not going to be pulling away from these leaders to try to catch up on the back end of the lead lap. But, if I'm Mike Tellier, I am just praying for a caution flag right now while I'm out front. Keep me on the lead lap. And, heck, even if I do go one lap down, I could, it could be the lucky dog here and try to get that lap back yet again. But, man, some fantastic battling here. Here's Chris Darling going for the lead.
Yeah, Chris Darling is going for the lead right now. We do have a question from the chat, Bob. Demarius Hickenbottom, easy for me to say, right? Asks us who our picks are to win. And my pick to win is the number 47, Chris Darling, here tonight. At number 47, he was quiet in the first portion of the race. Now he's got himself back up towards the front. And I'll tell you what, he knows how to get to victory lane here at Talladega. He got the win in the Simbox Truck Series when we were here a couple months ago on 3 Wide TV. So he's my pick here tonight. What about you, Bob?
I like the way the 9 of Lorella has been working with Edwards, and I really do think that they're towards the back of the pack right now, but Lorello, I think, is going to get the dub here with 37 laps to go.
And a pretty darn good-looking hot rod for that number 9 machine as well. Got the Grinch on the hood, Grinch on the side. It's all types of Grinchiness for the number 9 of Lorello as he works his way around this 2.66 mile racetrack. We're closing in on the final third of the race. Only 2 cautions if you're just now joining us here on 3 Wide TV. Question for the chat. We've got the hashtag Ask the Booth. Time for hashtag Ask the Chat. What about your picks, guys? Who do you think you're going to walk away with the checkered flag here tonight in the Drive for Charity 266 here at the famed Talladega Super Speedway? It is nighttime here in the United States, and of course we're racing at Talladega, so is it a Talladega night type of night? I don't know. Hopefully Will Ferrell doesn't end up running around in underwear out there on the racetrack. That would be the last thing we want to have happen, but I'll tell you what, I want to find out who your picks are to win in the chat. Meanwhile, up at the front, Ballesteros and the 1 of Jason Gracias, they're going to go battle side by side for the race lead.
Yeah, some side-by-side racing here. Ballesteros and the 1 of Jason Gracias. Like I'd mentioned, Gracias had won here for Total Nonstop Racing about a month or so ago. But Ballesteros really strong. He's missing his drafting partner, the 69 of Hammond. He's got him on the outside, but he's getting some good drafting help there by the 97 of Mike Tellier in front of him, even though he's on the tail end of the lead lap.
Yeah, we do have some picks coming in. Riderly Angle says he's hoping for a Philip Scott win. Garrett Gleason's rooting for Team TNR. Kyle Geveshausen saying he's rooting on Mike Floppy Tellier, who knows how to get to victory lane here on 3 Wide TV. He's done so in Total Nonstop Racing League, but he also won the National Sim Racing Association All-Star race. How about that? He'd only had a couple of starts in the National Sim Racing Association, got a win, got his way into the All-Star race, and then ended up winning the thing. So he knows how to get to victory lane here, and Talladega, I've raced with him here many, many times, going back to the NASCAR Racing 2003 season. I do know Mike Tellier. He comes from Canada, one of the few Canadian drivers in the field here tonight. Just needing a caution flag to get back on the lead lap, trying to pick up that Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Award. As you see all the cars down the backstretch. One driver I want to highlight, though, Bob, we've highlighted a couple here tonight, is the driver of the number 4 machine. Right there he is in the center of your screen, sporting the Auburn Tigers number 4. Involved in an early accident. Got a little bit of left rear damage, but so far been able to keep up with the field. It'll be interesting to see whether or not he's just pacing himself, waiting for, the end of the race, or whether or not that damage might be affecting him. We'll just have to wait and find out.
Yeah, for sure. Right now, Himmelman riding in the 14th position and able to stay here on the draft and in that lead pack. I'm not entirely sure how that damage is going to be affecting this car as the race goes on, but so far just kind of riding around mid-pack and, hoping for the best.
And there you see Tristan Maher in the number 98 right in front of him. He was also involved in that same accident. That was the first caution flag of the night. You see Maher has quite a bit of damage on that Roush mobile, running right around the 13th, 14th position, so just outside the top 10. But back up at the front, Things are starting to get dicey once again because the number 1 machine of Jason Gracias is the race leader. He leads that outside groove. The inside groove led by the lapped car of the number 97 of Mike Tellier, and the 69 of Hammond, again trying to go up to that very high side. He might have actually had to duck out there to get some clean air on the radiators. You see the 42 with a little bit of connection issues. Of course, driven by Barry Knapp there in the Folgers car. And now the field catching up to some of the lap traffic. Unfortunately, I believe that's Jeff Wyatt and Jordan Scheffler. Both of those cars getting damage under the second caution flag here of the night. But all the field going to go around them on the high groove. Everyone giving them plenty of room.
Yeah, plenty of room. Great job there by the lapped cars, able to just get out of the way, let the leaders race. Obviously, the 97 has been up here this entire time, able to race his way up to get the lead. But, oh, man, the 1 looked like he was trying to block the 22, couldn't quite get it. And now here they are 3 wide, side by side now for the lead.
Now look at Tim Hammond in the 69 machine. He's just going to pull up to the back bumper of Gracias, is going to try and give him a little bit of help. Ballesteros not able to clear the number 1 of Gracias before they headed off into turn number 1. This blimp cam really giving us all of the angles we need to see to visualize this pack racing the best we can. And just like that, you can see how the 69 was able to get to the back bumper of the 1 and really just push him to the race lead. And how about the number 78 there of J.R. Miller running in the 3rd position? Haven't really mentioned him. He's the 1 driver in this field who doesn't race part of either the Total Nonstop Racing League or the National Sim Racing Association. Great to have him in tonight's Drive for Charity 266. Definitely, once he saw this race and what all this race had to offer, he had to be a part of it. So definitely warm welcome here as we now have just 30 more laps to go, Bob. But we definitely have 1 more pit stop that these cars will have to make. And speaking of pit stops, we bring up the pit info there at the top of the screen. It'll probably only be about, I think we saw a 28 lap run before the, whoa, hold on, folks. Before I get to that, we're going to get a 3-wide TV replay because that was almost a big moment here down the backstretch.
Man, that was absolutely crazy. What a save there by the 78 of Miller, able to keep the car going in the straight line. But, man, looks like the 69 went up to get around the 1, wound up just losing his momentum. 78 pinballs against the 97 and the 22. But, oh, man, that would have been just an absolute disaster here in front of the pack.
Well, it wouldn't have been the first time that we've thrown the commentator's curse on someone up here, Bob. Seems like we have a good tendency of doing it, as Ballesteros there almost getting into the number 40. Another driver who's been quietly sneaking his way up towards the front of the field. That's the Rocket City Custom PC machine of Nicholas Bradley. And, of course, Nicholas Bradley, man behind Rocket City Custom PC. He, of course, one of the race sponsors of tonight, so got to give them a big thank you for all of your donation here tonight and getting your logo up there in the top left-hand corner of the screen for tonight's event and helping raise $800 for charity. And of course, that charity going towards the Secret Families Project. And make sure you go to that link up there in the top right-hand corner of your screen, punch it into your browser, and you too can figure out how you can help donate to that special charity. Meanwhile, this is the battle right now between the 69 machine right up there. That's the 69. We've talked about him pretty much all night long. That's the battle for the 4th position right now. He's getting a little help from the 22 of Ballesteros. And Ballesteros has been very strong inside the top 5 for pretty much the entire night. He's really been a staple up there for the entire race, which has been very impressive to see. That 22 just doesn't seem to fall out of the top 5 every time I look, Bob.
Yeah, he's really been all around the front of the pack, doing a great job pushing, and he's got his favorite pushee back in front of him. That's a 69 of Hammond. He's getting a good shove there as Hammond looks to try to go to P1 as they come out onto the back straightaway.
Meanwhile, we are down to now 22 cars on the lead lap, and the last car on the lead lap, believe it or not, is the number 9 of James Orello. We've talked about how he's been fast all night, but he and his teammate there of Edwards have lost the lead pack. They're currently being scored 44 seconds behind the race lead, and it won't be all too long before the lead pack starts to catch him. In fact, you can see that lead pack coming And I'll tell you what, if they put these two cars a lap down, it could be day done for both of them, because we haven't seen a lot of cautions here tonight. We haven't seen all too many of those Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Awards.
For sure, but it looks like now that these leaders, it's been 26, 29 laps since they've been down on pit road. Looks like Bill Edwards and James Orello both had pitted a couple of laps ago, so they might be able to say, hey, even if we stay green, we might be able to make it to the end of this race. So the money stop's coming up very soon for these drivers.
And speaking of on pit road, there's the number 8 machine of Philip Scott. He came down pit road. Matt Monticelli also coming down pit road. So now the big question is when your leader is going to come down pit road. And the answer is right now, led by Jason Gracias and the number 1 machine. Look at the 20 machine just jumping up through the middle there. Wow, that was a great entry for this group of cars. Looks like we're going to stay clean and green. No contact between any of them. There's the 4 of Andrew Himmelman getting to his box up at the top of the screen. And the 1 overshot his pit box. The 20 overshot his. That's, of course, Gracias and Freeman, a couple of the Total Nonstop Racing boys. And still, the 20 of Freeman unable to find his box. That's going to be absolutely disastrous. You see all the other cars still rolling. He still can't find his pit box.
Man, heartbreaking there for the 20 of Jason Freeman, having a hard time getting his car into the box. And Peter, you and I were saying earlier during the last round of green flag pit stops that getting into your box is one of the most important things that these drivers have to nail to get a good time and stay with the pack coming off of pit road.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You have to nail it getting into your pit box. And now it's going to be the big question of when do we find the drivers who have speeding penalties. Jason Freeman only just now rolling from his box. Can you believe that? Looks like most of the cars that are on pit road right now did a good job of getting in their pit box nice and neatly. So we have Nicholas Bradley, Barry Knapp, J.R. Miller. They just peeled off this last time by. And now we got 5 cars up at the front of the field, led by Chris Darling, Tim Hammond, Josh Sobel, Zach Cowell, and Doug Milliner. Those 5 cars presumably will all come down this lap and what will be their final pit stop.
Yeah, here they come now, getting down to pit road speed. Let's see, no one... Oh, looks like the 47 there slid the tires just a little bit, but nothing too crazy here as they get down to work and get some fuel in those cars.
Yeah, big questions are going to be whether or not that 47 of Chris Darling made it down to pit road speed. We'll see whether or not iRacing has given him a black flag. We'll wait to see when he rolls. I'd expect him to start rolling about now. Yes, okay, so he was able to get down to pit road speed. That's good news. And he will be headed down pit road and come off pit road. We'll see how everything sorts out when the field kind of gets back together, but that will pretty much do it for this round of pit stops. All these cars now, they're good to go to the end.
Yeah, for sure. And one great thing is that we didn't see the wreck that we saw last time during green flag pit stops. But look at this, who's going to be inheriting the lead. Is that the 9 of Orello?
It is the number 50 of Edwards right in front of the number 9 of Orello. So we'll do the math. Orello and Bill Edwards, they pitted 5 laps ago. So they are just on the window, Bob, of being able to make it the rest of the way on fuel. But they did such a good job coming down pit road. Tristan Mayer, the 97 of Tellier Ballesteros, the 1 of Gracias, also doing a stellar job again to pit road. Same thing with Josh Sobel. We're going to have a pretty small lead group of cars. I mean, it's enough cars that they'll be able to hold their own, which could spell bad news for the rest of the field.
Yeah, the rest of the field is going to be stuck behind this group, but really one of the most unlucky drivers there is that 97 of Mike Floppy Tellier. He's not in the top 10. He's just riding along there. Last car, or first car right now, 1 lap down. So he's really going to be one of the drivers pushing for a caution, but he's just going to try to stay up here with the lead pack and just avoid any wrecks if they happen further back in the field.
Good news is nobody got a pit road speeding penalty in the final pit stop of the night. What a disaster that could have been. Of course, the biggest loser, the slowest car on pit road, Jason Freeman in the number 20, as he really struggled to find his pit box. His pit road time, Bob, 51.3 seconds. That's an entire lap around this joint. You compare that with Bill Edwards, who was 17 seconds faster on pit road. That is just a huge amount of time around this 2.66 mile racetrack when you're going 195 to 198 miles an hour around the joint.
Yeah, every second counts in the pits, and it just an absolutely tough break there for the 20 of Freeman, but great stop there by the 50 of Bill Edwards.
We got Damaris Hickenbottom in the chat saying their money's on the number 22. And I'll tell you what, that number 22 has been pretty lights out here tonight in the top 5. Basically, since the drop of the green, what can he do? Tristan Maher also nursing a little bit of rear end damage from earlier contact that brought out the first caution flag. The one of only 2 that we've had in the first 80 laps, as we will have 80 in the books as they cross the start-finish line right here. Then at the back of this pack, they were in danger, I would say, Bob, of losing this lead train. That, of course, being the 47 of Darling, who I got my money on here tonight, and the 57 of Josh Sobel there. That 57, he's not going anywhere. Good job by him to stay with this lead pack. And then you have a couple of trains a little bit further back. There's a Zach Cowell in that number 85. And what about Tim Hammond? We've seen him be very racy, but now he's kind of stuck back from the lead train of cars. He's right there in the third line. He's back there in 10th. Then it's a gap back to the number 8 of Philip Scott, who's been trying his best to try and close in on the cars in front. He's running with Joe Heater right there. A couple of the Total Nonstop Racing boys running together. Then back behind them, Barry Knapp. He's in 13th in that number 42 Folgers race car. There he is. J.R. Miller, the 78. He was one of the middle takers on pit road. He didn't pit the first time. He didn't pit the last time, but he kind of pit there in the middle. He's 14th. And then Andrew Himmelman in that Auburn Tigers Ford Mustang rounds out your top 15. As we're down to just 19 more laps to go.
Man, just some great racing here throughout the field. Like, again, I've been saying pretty much all night, as we're looking at the 33 machine right here, mid-pack or so, give or take. Some racing here, and these guys really just trying to stay single file, trying to make up as much time as possible. It's Jeffrey Johnson here in 17th place, started in 12th. But just these guys trying to get back up to the lead pack. But as you can see here, they're a little bit too far away from that lead pack to really have any effect right now. But if there's a caution, anything could happen.
So now the big question is going to be how many cars can catch this lead group. It seems like we've had the 69 of Hammond, Doug Milliner, and Zach Howell. They've been able to run down this lead pack of cars. There's Austin Grover in the 83. He's about to fall a lap down in that race car. It just hasn't been the night Grover was hoping for. And then we have another group of cars. They're trying to run down this lead pack. Is now the 47, Chris Darling. He's going to try and get to the lead with a little bit of help from Zach Howell. They're going to be side by side for the race lead. 17 to go this time by.
Yeah, side by side here through the tri-oval. A great job by these drivers with the push going down into turn number 1. But this is an excellent opportunity and really opens the door for that second pack of drivers. They're side by side. They're going to be a little bit slower because they're more racy. And if these middle pack of guys stay single file right here as we see now, they're definitely going to be able to catch up and maybe get a little more momentum and get around these guys.
Yeah, we're on board right now with the number 8 of Philip Scott, who's just watching that lead pack. They're racing side by side, and by doing so, they're punching a bigger hole in the air. That's allowing Scott to really close in. Now you can see visibly here that he's closing in. He's going to have a huge head of steam when he finally gets to that lead pack.
Yes, and he's going to have a great push behind him. He's got the 83 of Grover on the inside, one of the lapped cars, but the lap car staying strong here as the leaders cannot get single file. There's a big move there by the 8 of Scott to go from the outside down to the inside.
Yeah, and you can see that outside line really broke up. The 47 of Darling kind of got shuffled out now. Joshua Sobel in the 57 leads that outside train of cars. Edwards in the 50, your race leader. Orello in second. Then you find Josh Sobel and Ballesteros in the number 22. But here comes Zach Cowell, second car in that outside groove. As you can tell, Bob, action really starting to heat up at Talladega. It's go time. Especially when we get to inside 10 laps to go, that's when you save all of your muscle, all of your might for those last 10 laps.
It is starting to get tense out there on the track. 15 laps to go, side by side here for the first, more than 15 cars or so, as we see here Chris Darling in ninth, but just less than a second behind these leaders, all stacked up on one another, 2x2, 3 wide here at the middle of the pack. Joe Heater getting a good push from the 97 to Tellier. Oh, Heater had a bit of a swiggle there as they're coming out of turn number 2.
Yeah, that 47 and the 35, I think they made contact a couple of times through turn number 1 and 2. It was darn close, but luckily for the 47, he was able to get it woed up and avoid any contact. Now he's going to fall back to the 10th position with 15 laps to go. But like you said, swiggles all over the racetrack right now. These drivers, it's go time, and you can definitely see it. They want to fight for this win here tonight because there is a little bit of money on the line for the winner. Yes, there is a little bit of a prize pool for this charity event. That just helps bring in the drivers for this one. Each of these drivers putting a $15 entry fee. Most of that entry fee does go towards charity, but a little bit did go to the side to get the winner a little bit of a paycheck. So definitely very cool to have both NSRA and Total Nonstop Racing Leagues coming together to put this one on for you here on 3 Wide TV. And of course, we also do have the 78 of J.R. Miller, not part of either of those leagues running here tonight, and he's got himself back up into this lead train in the number 78 mobile. Yeah,
Miller right now in 11th, but having a great strong run here as the lone unaffiliated driver here in tonight's field. But oh man, just a great job by him tonight, able to stick with everyone and really stay around that top 10 all night long.
And look at this up at the front. We're 2x2. Now the number 97. Oh, and the 50 of Edwards goes all the way down the racetrack. How did he save that race car? Definitely not what he wants to have happen, as he's going to lose the lead train of cars. But that is as good of a save as I've ever seen here at Talladega. A little bit of a bump gone wrong from his teammate, the number 9 of Orello. And how on earth did he keep that off the wall?
Man, what a great save there by the 50 of Edwards. It looks like he just got hooked there on the inside bumper, and look at his hands as we see here on the inboard camera, just absolutely sawing on the wheel, somehow able to keep that car off of the wall and still in one piece.
Now the bad news for Edwards is he's going to lose this lead pack of cars, but if this lead pack of cars wads up here, Edwards could be in a good position. He's currently being scored in 13th, and there's 12 cars in this lead pack, plus Mike Floppy Tellier in the number 97, who's still hoping to get his lap back by means of the Brookstone and Mossville Lucky Dog Award here. So we'll have 11 laps to go. Joshua Sobel leads the race. Sobel hasn't had a lot of luck in the Friday night Simbox Truck Series, but here tonight, so far, putting together a very solid run as Gracias going to push the number 97 machine back onto the lead lap the hard way. And here comes that high line, the 69 of Hammond, with a little bit of help from the only ringer in the field, the 78 of J.R. Miller.
Yeah, we're talking about how Miller was sneaky good up here in the top 10 for most of the race, but how about the 69 of Hammond all around the top 5, leading a fair amount of laps as well so far tonight. He's another guy that's been just circling this lead and really looking to pounce here with 11 laps to go.
And now the number 9 of Orello, he's lost his dancing partner in that number 9, just now running outside the top 5, now back into the top 5 as things continue to shuffle here. It'll be 10 laps to go this time by in the Drive for Charity 266. A little bit of connection issues there, a little bit further back in the pack. We start to go a little bit 3 wide back there. That's Joe Heater trying to dice his way through no contact with a 78 of Miller. How did Miller save that one?
Wow, what a huge save by Miller. Miller's going to get out of the gas just a bit. Joe Heater just got a little bit too much into the back of the 78, sent him a little squirrely. But let's take a look here at the replay. The 78 is that black machine in the middle of the screen here. The pink machine at 35, Joe Heater. Heater just got a head of steam into the back of him, able to save it somehow and keeping the car going in the right direction.
Yeah, you might see that move on a short track, but you don't often see that here at Talladega. But luckily for the number 78, I think that's the second time we've seen here tonight. Just an immense save out of that driver right there. And he's got himself still inside the top 5 with 9 laps to go. We can tell that the action is heating up. These drivers are starting to do things that they wouldn't have done 30 laps ago, even 10 laps ago, they wouldn't have been so racy. That 78 running in third. He's the fourth car in line. There's also the 83 of Grover. He's also one of the lapped cars in this lead pack. Oh, 83 and the 35. They make contact and they save it. They don't save it. The 78 and the 35 in the outside wall, and caution flag will wave. 8 of Philip Scott involved as well.
Oh, man, tough break there for Philip Scott. Another one of those drivers that has been around the front of the pack all night long, getting caught up in the wrong place at the wrong time, but it all started right there. The 35 got down in front of the 83. 35 had it saved for the most part, had to get it off of the 22, but unfortunately for him, the 78 of Miller was in the way and up at the top of the track, and well, the rest is history here.
Yeah, that is a tough break for a couple of drivers who had a stellar night going. We'll go on board here with the number 78. He jumped to the high side here, and that 83 tried to make it 3 wide, and there was a little bit of contact, and it looked like he was okay, but Miller just got caught there right at the end. Also looks like a tough break here for a couple of the other a couple other cars, if I can talk. They're involved in that one, including the number 8 of Philip Scott. We'll see if we can go see what happened to Scott here. There's that initial contact, and yeah, just kind of got taken out. There's the 57 machine of Sobel also getting a piece of it. Heavy damage on the number 8, and that will more than likely end the night of a couple of those cars up at the front of the field. But the pace car lights here at Talladega, they'll stay on. I'm sure we'll see a lot of takers of the cars who just got collected in that one, but none of the leaders will need to come down pit road unless we have some green-white checkers. That could definitely change the way this race's outcome turns out, because you have to think about like the 9 of Orello. He pitted just at the beginning of the pit window, Bob.
Yeah, Orello and Edwards both pitted right there with about 28 laps to go. And, we've been saying all night that, between 26 to 28 laps or so, these cars can go on a full tank of fuel. So if I'm either Orello or Edwards, I'm saying, man, I'm hoping we get some longer cautions here, just try to save as much fuel as possible. But looking at now, the Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Award goes to the man himself, Mike Floppy Tellier. Did it the hard way, and he's going to be back up here on the lead lap.
And you know what's crazy about Mike Tellier? You see that number right there in the middle of that graphic. 20 laps led. He's still the driver who's led the most laps here tonight, and he might still walk away with the fact that he leads the most laps. But he's been a lap down for probably the last, maybe 30, 40 laps, Bob. So Tellier's really been trying to get back on the lead lap, finally been able to do so. And it'll be fun to see exactly what he can do when we go back green here very shortly.
Yeah, for sure. He was caught speeding on pit road during the first round of green flag pit stops right before the second caution. So him being able to get back up on the lead lap, able to get back up in this pack and fight for a win, it's going to be interesting here as Jason Gracias is going to be scored our leader.
Yeah, that number 1 machine was the leader when the caution flag eventually did come out. Back there behind him, the number 22 of Drew Ballesteros. That is the pick of Damaris Hickenbottom in the chat. Definitely a very possible winner of this one. My pick, Chris Darling, currently being scored in the 7th spot. There's Chris in the Max Graphics Ford. Of course, Chris is the man who puts together Max Graphics. If you want an iRacing paint scheme, make sure to go check them out. If you need any other graphics need, make sure you check out Thornton Graphix, one of the sponsors of tonight's race. In fact, there are all the sponsors of tonight's race. National Sim Racing Association, Total Nonstop Racing League, NEPA Dent Repair, Thornton Graphix, like we just mentioned, NEPA Cornhole, Max Graphics, like we just mentioned, Brookstone Animal Hospital, of course, sponsoring the Lucky Dog Award. What's the Scoop? Then we have Garrett's also auto sales there on the right-hand side. You can see their phone number, probably a little bit more visible when they scroll in the top left of the screen. Rocket City Custom PCs, Dunn Raceway Park in Old Forge, Pennsylvania. Indoor off-road RC racing. If you're into that scene, make sure you check out their website. Their indoor track looks super awesome. I'd love to go race on it. And Bob, I've always thought about what if you put a little GoPro on those RC cars, get some little POV action. It'd be pretty cool to get on those RC cars and race around that little racetrack. Of course, last year at 3 Wide TV, Choman's Care and Darling Decor all jumping on board as the sponsors of this special event here tonight. And of course, a big shout out to all of you in the chat. I'm really curious to know if anyone in the chat has donated tonight to the cause. And if you have, make sure you make yourself heard. And we want to give you a big thank you. It was $810 at the beginning of the night that people were putting money towards the cause. And that was very, very awesome to see. Would love to see if we could push 1,000. But we'll see whether or not the tallies go up at the end of tonight, and we really appreciate everyone's support in the chat here on 3 Wide TV. But Bob, it's gonna be a 5-lap shootout at Talladega. Usually that means craziness, and it's gonna be a fun one to watch for all of the fans at home. So make sure you get up out of your seats. I'm ready for it.
Oh, excuse me. There's having excuse me, having a bit of a choking fit. Yeah, I mean, that's where that coopetition that you were mentioning earlier in the broadcast is coming into play. You're cooperating with the guy in front of you only for a little bit, but then, you also want to have that competition with him and try to get that win. And a 5-lap shootout is going to be pure coopetition between all these drivers.
We got a question in the chat from Kyle Geveshausen asking whether or not Mike Tellier can drive through the field. It's going to be difficult because he's also got that tail end of longest line penalty that you get when you get the Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Award. So we'll just have to wait and see whether or not he can do so or not. Pace car heads down pit road, hopefully for the final time here tonight. Race in the hands of your Total Nonstop Racing League Thornton Graphix Cup Series holder. That is Jason Gracias in the number 1 machine. Drew Ballesteros to his outside. The 9 and the 57 on row number 2, waiting for that green flag to wave. They wait really, really long, but we're back to racing here at Dega.
Here comes Gracias down on the inside, the 22 on the outside, but a great push there by the 9 of Orello, able to get Gracias out in front. Ballesteros is going to be on the inside. He'll duck down into third, but further back in the pack, side-by-side racing. 5 laps to go here down the back straightaway.
Gracias holds on to the race lead. Here comes Tim Hammond in the 69. The 22 tried to make a move. We've seen the 69 and the 22 work together quite a bit here tonight, but for now the 22 stays in line with the front 2. They're side by side now for 4th, now back to 5th. There's Chris Darling right behind Joshua Sobel on the inside groove. Now they start to work out. Look at Orello being pushed all the way to the high side by the number 1 at Gracias. Now Gracias under fire from the 22 of Ballesteros, and there's contact. The 69 of Hammond goes around back there, and he goes sliding down into the inside of the racetrack, and that's Edwards going around. In the 50, is that going to be a caution? Still green flag here at Dega. But wow, we'll get a quick look at that one. Can't look at this one for all too long because we stay green. Can you believe that? There's the initial contact. The 50 was through it, and then there's more contact with the number 16 who also has some problems. That's what happened to him, but we stay green flag. Someone give the flagman a shot of adrenaline or something, but here we are back live up at the front. It is still number 1 of Gracias who continues to lead. And what about the 33 of Jeffrey Johnson Jr.? Where did he come from? He's now up to 3rd.
Man, Johnson Jr. out of nowhere, down in 3rd place right now, giving a good push to the 22 of Ballesteros. Ballesteros now on the inside. He's pushing the 1 of Gracias, but here comes the 33 of Johnson, and oh wow, Chris Darling up here on the top side.
Yeah, Darling and Orello trying to work together, trying to get that high line to work out. Not working out for them just yet. Here's Joshua Sobel now with a little bit of help from Doug Milliner in the number 6 mobile. They're going to be pushing together halfway down the backstretch. We're coming to 2 laps to go this time by.
It's crunch time here as the field drives down into turn number 3. The 1 of Gracias still has the lead, but here's Sobel leading the outside lane, getting a big push by the I believe that's the 40 of Bradley and the 6 of Milner in there as well. Huge push as they come down into the tri-oval.
Oh, but did Gracias just screw himself? He did. He tried to block the high line, but opened up the door for Ballesteros. He's going to slide back. He's got no help. Joshua Sobel now to the race lead with 2 laps to go. Is Sobel going to draw? Oh, there's contact. The 47 and the 1 get together, and the 47 gets sent up into the stratosphere. He's still flying. There he is, still barrel rolling, and caution flag is out at Dega. I will say, my pick isn't going to win here tonight.
Man, the broadcaster's curse strikes yet again, this time for this 47 of Chris Darling as he gets into the wall and then absolutely space forced straight up in, gets knocked head over heel, rolling here through the inside grass, and man, what a crazy wreck that was.
Here we go, on board everyone's favorite gyro cam. There was contact there, and this one is going to hurt, folks. Give that gyro cam a workout because it's just rolling down through the grass and finally coming to a stop, unfortunately, on his lid. And I'm sure Chris Darling will be very upset with how that all worked out. We'll slow this one down. There was contact there with Gracias. There were 3 wide going off into the corner. And you see that number 1 getting down there. I think the 1 actually ended up okay. But as the flipping and flying of the 47 machine, he came back down the racetrack right in front of the 55 machine of Steven Doziak. And Doziak continued to send... oh my goodness, you know what? I completely missed all of that. I hit the wrong button, folks. So we'll do that again. We'll do that again. You'll get the whole commentary over again. And we'll look at this all over. So here's the contact with the 1 and the 47. There were 3 wide off into the corner. That's what I said before. And then it went flipping. And then here comes the 55 of Doziak, which continues to put the 47 up and over. So unfortunately for the 47, he's going to end up in his pit box. And I think that's going to be day done. Damaris Hickenbottom saying AMR safety team is out there assisting him. Yeah, I'll tell you what. That's going to need some TLC on that car as well after it's all said and done. Ryder Lee Angle saying that's a mega oof as well. But that car got heated. It's like it's playing that one game, Fall Guys, getting the big yeet hammer. Johnny Williams saying RIP CD. Yeah, that's a big F in the chat. Boy, oh boy. JT Poole saying the 47 to the infield care center. Yeah, you ain't kidding. Barrett Lee, that was intense. Man, poor old Chris Darling. That's going to be a tough night for him. Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, it is a 22 of Drew Ballesteros, who continues to lead the race. And it looks like Austin Grover there in the 83, he's going to get his lap back. So he will be this caution's Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Award winner, and he was 2 laps down, so now he's just going to be 1 lap down in that 83 car. So don't think he's going to get back on the lead lap before all things are said and done, but he is running in the 17th position in that total Nonstop Racing Chevrolet. So make sure to give him a little bit of a shout out. Meanwhile, there's the whole field, Bob. And boy, we thought a 5-lap shootout was crazy. We're going to have a 2-lap shootout, green-white checker here at Dega when we go back green.
Man, this is going to be absolutely intense. The 22 has really been up front in this field for most of the race, and now it's his time to shine here in the catbird seat. Starting first, he's going to have the whole shot. When we go back to green, he's going to have the advantage of deciding when the field goes back racing, but behind him, he's going to have a couple of guys who've been pushing all race long, hoping to give him the push to the win. But man, 2 laps, it's going to be intense.
Well, I think we're going to have a quick word with the man that I think everyone thinks is dead, and I'm going to quote one of my favorite movies of all times, and that's Cool Runnings. Hey, Chris, you dead?
I'm dead, man. I'm dead. Wild ride.
That was a wild ride. Definitely not the way that number 47, wanted to end tonight's race. But you're almost not in the race at all. So hopefully you had some fun out there in the Max Graphics Ford. Tell us about the race. I mean, it definitely seemed like a lot of green flag racing. Unfortunately, a disaster struck at the wrong time for you.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. That's all we were doing out here, is trying to have some fun for a good cause. But I don't know, man. A lot of riding around. Figured about 10 to go, we'd start racing. I know earlier in the race, a lot of us went up to see what was going to happen when we started racing, and we dropped back. But I don't know, man. It was fun, so it was a good time.
Yeah, it was for a good cause, and over $800 before the drop of the green flag here tonight. I mean, that's got to make you feel good. I know you ended up flipping and flying, but I know that's got to make you feel good at the end of the day.
Yeah, it was never about the money for me. It's just good to do something to help somebody else out,
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely been a great one to be a part of here on 3 Wide TV. We might get your quick thoughts after the race is all said and done. But nonetheless, Chris, thank you for stopping by here in the booth. And hopefully you can get that car repaired. And hopefully you can mend all the broken bones before Friday when we see you back here on 3 Wide TV for the Simbox Truck Series.
Yeah, hopefully. We'll see what happens. Thanks, guys. Enjoy the show. Hope you guys are having as much of a blast as I am.
All right. Well, folks, that is Chris Darling, driver of the number 47 machine. And I think the entire chat thinks that he ended up dead. And, of course, one of my favorite scenes in Cool Runnings was the first time they go down the hill in the bobsled in Jamaica, and they crash. And the main guy says, "Sankey, you dead?" "Yeah, I'm dead." And I think you see that quite a bit in sim racing. But meanwhile, folks, this lap we would have completed the full 100, but we have overtime. Green-white checker, the first attempt here coming up on 3 Wide TV. Let us know who you got. I know Damaris has the number 22 of Ballesteros, but the field is now a little bit smaller. There's different figures in it. Mike Tellier's now got himself into the top 5 for this green flag. Remember, he was a lap down not too long ago. Who's it going to be? The 22, the 40, the 57, the 9. Orello's back up there. He's led a lot of laps here tonight. Gracias has now led the most, but he's now back just inside the top 10. We're going to figure this one out, Bob.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be interesting here as the field rolls through the tri-oval. Flagman getting ready to wave it. Green flag back in the air as the field goes up to the gears and gets in through turn number 1.
And that outside line led by the number 40. Fantastic restart for them. They were all lined up all together. Now the inside starts to file up together. There's contact back there. That's the number 20. I saw it out of the corner of my eyes, and we're going around again. The 42, the 69 involved, and we got one car on its roof there coming out of turn number 2. Not sure who that is. Was that... it all happened with the number 20. It all started, I think, with the number 20, but we saw one car... watch this. The 85 and the 20 had it coming together. The 4 and the 42... Let's see if we can figure out exactly what happened a little bit further back in the pack. Maybe we got to go to the blimp cam to figure out exactly what happened to the back half of the field here. This, I think, will give us a good look of exactly what happened to the field. Watch the 85 and the 20. You see the 85 just had a bad bump on the 20, was off-center. Wow, almost took out Mike Tellier in the 97. There's the 42 and the 4 making contact. Then Doziak there in the 55, the 42, the 69 of Hammond getting involved, and the 42 got stuck in the wall. The 55 went flipping in there, and I think it was the 85. Was it the 85? It was Zach Cowell in the 85 who ends up on his lid, similar to Chris Darling. We're going to have to re-rack him and do it all over again.
Man, that was absolutely intense. Just the wrong place at the wrong time. Just a bad bump by, I believe that was the 85, getting into the 20, turning him, sending him straight into the wall. And then as we look here, the rest of the field comes in. The 55 in the wall sends the 85 upside down on his roof, sliding across the racetrack.
And Zach Cowell had a fantastic night going, and just like that, it ends. So that's not what he wants to have happen. Here we got one more look on board with the number 85. There's the 20. There's just that bad bump, and it's on from there, folks. You see a couple of cars barely squeaking through. The 42 just absolutely impaled the outside wall. In real life, that would be a red flag for a broken wall because you don't want to see a race car stuck in the TA of Talladega. So make that, is it Barry Talladega now? Or the 42 Talladega? I don't know. But unfortunately, that Folgers machine, it's day done for that car. And we'll have to head back to pit road. So we'll re-rack them and do it all over again here, folks, because we do have another attempt at a green-white checker. Frank V saying Darling needed a parachute. He was launched. Yeah, he was absolutely launched. Demaris Hickenbottom says, stay on the bottom. Easy money. Definitely able to hold on to the lead there in that brief green flag run. We just barely got to turn number 2 before it was all said and done. JT Poole says the one-time net code has worked in someone's favor. Andrew was lucky. Yeah, Andrew Himmelman was lucky a couple of cautions ago. Able to get through that mess. I do believe we have another... do we have another? I think we do. I think it might actually be the 83 machine again. And it is. 83 machine of Austin Grover. I was just saying a little while ago, Bob, I didn't think he'd get back on the lead lap. But here's Austin Grover back on the lead lap, picking up another Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Award.
Yeah, another one there. He's going to be able to get back up on the lead lap. And, man, the way these cautions are going, who knows? Maybe he's going to be able to jump up and pick up some more spots here. We've seen Mike Floppy Tellier now up in the top 10 after getting the Lucky Dog a couple of laps ago. Pardon me, the Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog just a couple of cautions ago. So, hey, the way this race is going, who knows?
Yeah, I want to take this moment here under this caution once again to thank you to the sponsors that Chris Darling and I just mentioned. And of course, National Sim Racing Association, Total Nonstop Racing League, NEPA Cornhole, NEPA Dent Repair, Thornton Graphix, Max Graphics, Brookstone Animal Hospital, What's the Scoop, Garrett's Auto Sales, Rocket City Custom PCs, Dunn Raceway Park, Choman's Care, and Darling Decor for helping put this race together and raising that to $810 that we mentioned just a little bit ago. That was the tally going into tonight. Hopefully that tally can get a little bit bigger because who doesn't want to be able to help out those in need during this holiday season here in tonight's Christmas Drive for Charity 266 at Dega. My eyes are on the pace car here, Bob. We'll see if those lights turn off this time. It looks like the whole field already trying to double up. I think they're all ready to go.
Yeah, the field just getting a little bit more racy here behind the pace car as they're going to be coming across the line here. Looks like they'll be going back green next time by. Side by side here, the 22 is your leader. He's been pretty much up in the top 5, top 10 for almost this entire race. And right now it looks like the chat saying the 22 is going to be the favorite to win this one.
Yeah, you definitely want to be in that first position. I got to give a big shout out to the 22. Ballesteros knows what he's doing here, Bob, because here at Talladega, the one thing you want to do is you don't want to get out to too big of a lead so that the whole field runs you down halfway down the backstretch and they just blow on by you like you're standing still. He waited and waited and waited for that green flag to fall under that last caution. He knows he doesn't have a teammate right back behind him. So Drew is definitely a master here of these super speedways. You can tell. I mean, Drew's been in the top 5 this entire race, done a fantastic job of keeping that 22 clean, and now in position to potentially win the race. And I expect to see Drew again wait for the green flag to fall until he gets back on the loud pedal, just so that inside line can stay a little bit more bunched up than if he was to go before that green flag falls.
For sure. I mean, Peter, if you're in second place right now, if you're driving the 40 car, what are you doing right now? Are you just kind of looking out to your left side, looking on that left monitor to say, okay, as soon as he goes, I'm hitting the loud pedal? Or, what are you trying to do to try to combat the 22s getting the advantage on the restart?
Well, if I'm that 40 right now, I'm just waiting for that green flag to fall. I saw what the number 22 did under that first run, and I think he tried to wait for that green flag to fall, like I said, so he doesn't get too big of a jump on the cars behind, such that they could draft up to him and slingshot around him. I think he's going to do the same thing again here. I could be wrong, commentators aren't always right, but if that outside line just waits for that green flag to fall, watches the green flag that pops up in the top right corner of the screen, just waits and waits and waits for that. And here again, you can see them coming down nice and slow here, and the green flag does finally fly. And look at the number 9 of Orello, possibly a little bit of wheel spin. The 33 of Jeffrey Johnson Jr., he's going to slot down into the inside. He got it clear all around. Jumped down to the inside, and now we're 3 wide further back. There's the number 1 of Gracias. We've seen him lead a lot of laps, but the 22 of Ballesteros takes the race lead with a little bit of help from the 57 back behind him.
Yeah, what a great restart there. Had a good push by the 57 behind him, but here comes Ballesteros down the back straightaway. He's got the 57 looking to the outside. Here comes the 57 of Sobel. Taking a look on the inside, 3 wide now as they head off into turn number 1. And oh, sideways trouble. Further on to the back, the 97 gets turned and a couple more guys get spun around, and the yellow flag is going to come out yet again.
And Ballesteros in the number 22 machine. Now we're going to have to figure out whether or not we have any more attempts at a green-white checker. I think I remember seeing 2 attempts at a green-white checker. It might be Ballesteros walking away with this race. Does the white flag come out? It does. So 2 attempts at a green-white checker. We've had them both. Drew Ballesteros will walk away with the win here tonight at Talladega. We'll go back and break down exactly what all went down here about half a lap ago. We'll get a quick look at it now. We'll come back to it here in just a little minute. They went 4 wide, and that doesn't always work out here at Talladega. It all seemed to go wrong. The 57, the 1, the 33, the 97, and the 57 finally making contact, and around they went, and that was enough to bring out the caution flag. 22 was out front, and that is going to do it. Drew Ballesteros going to walk away with the win. Damaris Hickenbottom, you got it. You had it called the whole evening long. Said easy money a couple minutes ago, and it ended up being the case. That 22 going to get to go to victory lane, burn it down here on the front stretch at Talladega. How about that? What a crazy race, and what a wild finish, Bob.
Man, just a fantastic finish here for the Drive for Charity Secret Families Christmas Charity Race. Just absolutely phenomenal. The 22 up at the front of the pack this entire race, definitely deserving of the win here, as he's going to be crossing the line in first place. But what a great race, and an exciting one at that, Peter.
And the number 22 machine, he's going to come across the start-finish line. Checkered flag for the 22 victory lane as the whole field is going to shuffle on by back behind him. Wow, what a wild finish. You see Andrew Himmelman there coming across the line, smoking. But boy, oh boy, that 22 is going to be a very, very happy camper. Not a scratch on that car here tonight, Bob. I think that just speaks to how good of a run he had.
Yeah, for sure. Really great job earlier in the race pushing the 69 of Hammond. And when it came out to him being in the lead, he took command and just ran away with this one, and a very well-deserved win here in tonight's race.
Started 7th, led 17 laps. Only 2 drivers led more tonight. Jason Gracias and Mike Tellier both combined to lead 20 laps apiece between those two. So if you figure in Drew Ballesteros and James Orello, those 4 drivers here tonight almost combining to lead 80% of the race. Very impressive with those 4 drivers all night long. Very strong runs from each of them, but it's this man who comes out on top. And personally, Bob, I typically run the number 22. 22 and 33, those are my 2 numbers that I typically run. So, I'm pretty happy the 22 ended up going to victory lane.
Yeah, it's always a good day when the guy driving your number heads off to victory lane. I know for me, 23 is my number, so it's kind of like a mix of your 2 numbers. So, hey, I'll take it. Why not?
And burning it down on the start-finish line. Fantastic job all day long. We keep mentioning it, that it was Ballesteros' race to lose in the end, and I'm really hoping we can get some good post-race interviews with these drivers. In fact, we're going to talk to our top 3 finishers. We're going to line up an interview for you, or excuse me, not an interview, but we're going to line up a replay of that final race-ending accident here in just a minute on 3Y TV. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, folks, we're back. All right, we've got the tape at the perfect moment, so we're going to roll the tape here. We're on board here with the number 83 of Austin Grover, and we're going to see it goes 4 wide in front of him. That's Jason Gracias there on the number 1 machine trying to go 4 wide up the middle. Then the 97 and the 57 there make contact, and it's on from there. We're right on board with the 83. He got a big piece of it going up and over. You see the 16 also got, that's Brian Bradley getting involved. I believe the number 4 machine also getting a chunk of it. Andrew Himmelman, there he is. We'll see if we can go back and get another replay of what happened to Himmelman. They're just getting caught at the end of it from Sobel. And, oh, man, Bill Edwards there, engine grenading. And, Milliner getting involved. A ton of cars here involved late in this accident. Let's see what happened to Milliner. Down there on the inside. Yeah, just a little bit of contact, and then it kept getting away from him there, and unfortunately contact there with Jason Freeman ended up putting him in the outside wall there, Bob.
Man, just a tough place there for the 6. Ran into there, but right there, 4 wide, almost 5 wide, as he got the left side of the 97 into his car, sent him careening into the wall. Spun around a few times, gets basically helicoptered as he comes finally to a final rest there at the apron of the racetrack.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely not how a couple of those finishers wanted to finish their night, but we have caught up with tonight's top 3 finishers here, Bob. So, Bob, why don't you take it away with tonight's 3rd place finisher, Jason Gracias?
Well, right now, 3rd place finisher Jason Gracias, Bob Giaquinto up here in the 3-wide TV booth. You got a copy?
Loud and clear.
Well, Jason, a bit of an interesting race here for you. About mid-pack throughout the race, started 16th, but man, take us through those green-white checkered restarts, because the action, I feel like, was all over you, and you're able to squeak away with that 3rd place finish.
It really should have been a win. I made a mistake by giving up the bottom. Tristan was spotting for me. He was doing a good job. We just misjudged the run up top. We didn't know that the bottom was going to come in with a run from the 40 and 9. So that kind of put me back. And then we got 3 wide and a 1. I think I washed up into Chris. So I want to apologize to Chris for that. But overall, it was a good race. A lot of fun. Great to put on the race for charity. Got to thank Mike and Jason Freeman, Philip Scott, Joe Heater, Doziak, and Garrett Galeese and the rest of the TNR guys for working together all race. I think we put on a good show for everyone.
For sure, it was such an exciting race from the at least our broadcasting point of view, seeing everyone with the different strategies and things like that. Coming into that last wreck, that ultimately finished the race, looked like 4 wide going into the corner, and just at that point, was it just one of those racing deals where everyone's trying to get the best position possible, or what exactly happened there?
It's green white checker to Talladega. Run what you brung. So me, Mike, and Jason Freeman had a plan. Whoever got out first, we try to get behind them and just push each other through. So I channeled my inner Dale Earnhardt, saw some holes, and Floppy tried to follow me, but unfortunately, he just washed up just a wee bit and caused that last wreck. But overall, good race. It's for charity. No one's mad, so we raised some money, so that's good.
For sure, and before the drop of the green flag, looked like just over $800 going to the Secret Families charity. So always a great time here. And Jason, before we let you go, do you have any other shout outs you have for us?
Yeah, thanks to NSRA and TNR for putting this together, and the rest of the sponsors like Rocket City Customs PC. Make sure you guys check out this Secret Families charity and donate money. Let's give kids and family members who need help during the holiday season. It's about giving. I think Chris mentioned in the chat that there's going to be a payout from a sponsor for top 3 finishers or top 5 finishers. So whatever payout that's coming towards me, I want to reinvest back into charity, give it to somebody who needs it for the holiday season.
That's absolutely awesome. Jason says here at the top of our scoreboard here that you would be picking up $100, and very awesome to hear that going to the Secret Families charity. So thank you so much for A, being a part of it, but B, putting that money back into the charity and able to get it to people who really, really need it.
Yeah, no, thank you guys. I think you guys did this broadcast pro bono, so thanks for taking time out of a busy holiday season on the Monday night to get in the booth and put on an excellent broadcast. The chats and the YouTube had nothing but good reviews for you guys, so good job, guys.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jason, and good luck for the rest of this year. And if we don't speak, have a happy holidays, happy New Year, and looking forward to racing with you again starting in January with TNR.
Me too. I think you might be on the track too, Bob. So I'll look forward to racing with you if you are.
I'm hoping to get there. That's for sure.
Well, you, Bob, you and Peter, you guys have a great holiday. I wish your families a good holiday, and let's try to spread some cheer in people's lives this holiday season.
For sure.
All right, well, folks, that's going to do it with tonight's third place finisher, Jason Grossi, as I have caught up with tonight's runner-up, Jeffrey Johnson Jr. And Jeffrey, there with about 20 or so laps to go, I looked over and I said to Bob, where did he come from? Because I know you didn't quite have the strongest of races right there in the middle of the race. It seemed like you might have even lost the main draft, but I think you probably knew there were going to be accidents at some point, and you were able to get yourself up towards the front right there at the end. Good timing for that 33 machine, and you were able to walk away with the top two. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't planned. I ended up getting into someone there on that last green flag pit stop we had, and it put me behind. So I pretty much rode around with Brian Bradley in the 55 of Steven Dosiak. And I was just banking on that caution. We got it. So I come down. I got a gallon of fuel and went ahead and took 4 tires because I knew tires were hot. And, man, if you watch a replay on them last 3 restarts, I missed every wreck. I tried to take Mike Taylor with me, but that didn't work. So on that last green flag run, I saw a hole open up on the bottom and side of the 6, and I took it. And it ended up being the safest place for me to be, and it got me in the second place.
Well, absolutely fantastic run for you here tonight, Jeffrey. This is not the first time we've seen you up near the top of the charts here in the National Sim Racing Association on one of these super speedway races. Definitely working your way to the front at the right time there. But tell us about the night. I mean, it's a very special night here for charity, and great to have all these people out there. How cool was it to have such a big field tonight?
It was great, especially with guys that I don't race any of the TNR stuff right now, so half this field was like new to me, and they all raced really well, and it was a fun night. I mean, I can't say how fun it was. I mean, everyone they ran their lines, and it was a good time. I hope it was good to watch.
Yeah, definitely a good one to watch here on 3 Wide TV. So you'll have to go back and watch it. Make sure you give it a thumbs up because it definitely was one of the best races that I've ever broadcasted here on the channel. And definitely was really cool to see you work your way up to the front, and all of a sudden there, right towards the end, oh, where did he come from? Working your way into the top 5 and walking away with a runner-up finish. And of course, with a runner-up finish, late tally of the prize pool, you're going to see yourself walking away with $120 here tonight.
Right on. I kind of have a local charity that I plan on donating it to. So it's called Toys for Tots. It's a fireman's cheer fund here in Columbus. They were a little short this year, so I'm going to try to swing in and give them a little extra help.
That's really awesome. If you do that, hopefully you can get a picture, and hopefully we can put it up here on one of the Simbox Truck Series events, and kind of speak highly of this event, because it's going to be one that a lot of people will, I'm sure, be disappointed that they missed out on. But Jeffrey, very strong run for you here tonight, and of course it's a 3 Wide TV tradition to give you an opportunity to give us all the shout outs here after tonight's race.
I want to thank my friends and family for watching. I'm pretty sure my girlfriend stayed up. My sponsor, my business, New Age Auto Detailing. I know we got a lot of clients that tune in for this. And I want to thank you guys up in the booth. You guys do a great job every week of covering these races. And it's professional as all get out. And lastly, thanks to Chris and the guy from the TNR that helped put this on. I can't say enough about how nice this is that we get to help some needy family out there, and maybe two, I don't know, but I want to thank all them guys for the work they put in.
Yeah, definitely great to be a part of, and hopefully this can become an annual tradition for Total Nonstop Racing League and the National Sim Racing Association. Of course, I'm watching the Discord after the race, and it sounds like they're already putting things in work for a second event, a TNR versus NSRA here in the future. And of course, here on 3Y TV, we broadcast both, so we have to stay, neutral, so we don't offend anyone. But Jeffrey, it definitely was a fun race here tonight, and congratulations on your runner-up finish.
Thank you.
All right, well, folks, that's going to do it for tonight's runner-up, Jeffrey Johnson Jr., and I believe that hopefully Bob can catch up with tonight's winner. We'll see whether or not he can unmute his mic. We'll kind of wait, and I believe he has. Bob?
Yeah, I'm down here in Victory Lane with the winner of tonight's race, the 22 machine of Drew Ballesteros. And Drew, congratulations. It really seemed like you were the car to beat all night long, able to stay up in the top 10, top 5 pretty much all race. What was your strategy coming into the race tonight?
Well, thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun. I loved how clean everybody was racing up in the front. That made it for an enjoyable race. Just my goal was to be patient and let things play out. There was no need to push too hard and no need to make it all the way to the lead and lead every lap. So that was my goal, and thankfully it paid off.
And, we saw earlier in the beginning of the race, you and I believe it was the 69 just doing a great job drafting with each other, kind of staying on the back bumper of one another. And I'm sure that also helped you kind of stay up at the front, stay out of trouble, and really just keep the car ahead. And it was a fantastic job by the two of you all night long.
Yeah, thank you. The first 20, 25 laps was just trying to figure out how these guys race. I know that they are together week in and week out. And I've never raced with this league or this group of guys before. So I ducked out a couple of times to see if I could get a run going, see people work with me, and just trying to build a reputation with the guys around me. And once I saw the 69 go, I thought that was a perfect chance he had a great momentum. I knew I could push him. And I wanted to kind of build a relationship with him, make sure he could trust me. So thankfully, it took us to the front.
Yeah, and just kind of taking a look now, Drew, with the last couple of green-white checkered restarts, I'm sure a few tense moments there for you, especially as the leader. What was your strategy going into these restarts? Because, obviously you don't want to get too big of a lead and have the field jump up and catch up and get by you down the back straightaway, but you also don't want to have too slow of a restart and just have the field blow by you at the start. What was the secret to your success there in the restarts, especially late here in the race?
Yeah, going back to the not being familiar with these guys and not having any type of communication line with any of them, I knew that I just needed to wait on the green flag to drop. Don't need to jump. Don't need to try to get somebody to work with me. As long as we can all stay on the same level playing field and I can hold the bottom, I knew I would have the best opportunity to bring home the checkered flag. And after that first green-white checkered attempt, I knew that these guys are feisty. They're going to go after it. All I need to do is just make sure the second place guy or third place guy is on my bumper and hold the bottom, and it should work out just fine.
That's for sure, and it absolutely did in your favor, Drew. And coming into tonight's race, we raised just about $800 for the Secret Families charity. Really just a fantastic job by both the National Sim Racing Association and Total Nonstop Racing to come together and just put money together for such a great cause, and I'm sure that means a lot to be able to come out and win this charity race as well.
Yeah, I didn't know about it until about 4:30 this afternoon, and I messaged the group, and they they just told me they're welcome to fit one more person in the lineup, and I knew that was something that would be exciting and to be a part of, and I love the mission behind it. Just thankful to be here and be a part.
Awesome. Well, Drew, before we let you go, do you have any shout outs that you'd like to give out?
Shout out to my family and friends and girlfriend who've stayed up on a weeknight to watch. Thank you to you guys for broadcasting the race and doing what you do, and thank you to all the league owners and league members who welcomed me in here and allowed me to come race with them for a night. So hope to be back, and hopefully see you in Victory Lane again soon.
Awesome. Absolutely. Well, Drew, congratulations, and good luck for the rest of this National Sim Racing Association season.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, Bob, definitely a stellar night here tonight. We're going to try and get a quick word here from a couple of the series admins. Fortunately, we were unable to get Garrett Gleason, but we're going to pull in Mike Floppy Tellier and Chris Darling. Of course, Mike, one of the TNR guys, and Darling, of course, one of the NSRA guys. And I've been watching the chat, Chris and Mike. It seems like a TNR versus NSRA showdown is in the near future again.
I didn't even know this was a thing until like 5 minutes ago. Everybody started telling me about it. I'm like, what? What's going on?
Yeah, I kind of sparked a discussion. Apparently, a New Year's Eve bash at Coca-Cola Speedway could be coming up as a rematch between TNR and NSRA if we can get things together.
Yeah, we'll just have to try and get everything together and see what we can do. I'm all for it. I think especially if we could maybe like race for another good cause or something, or even if we just wanted the drivers to put in money and try to get some winnings going.
Yeah, definitely was a stellar race here tonight, and I know both of you guys ended up not exactly with the night that you wanted, but a lot of money raised for charity and a lot of different people to thank here tonight. So first off, Chris, anyone you want to give a shout out here tonight?
Oh man, all the sponsors. We have a ton of them. NSRA, TNR, NEPA Dent Repair, Thornton Graphix, NEPA Cornhole, Max Graphics, Brookstone, What's the Scoop, Garrett's Auto Sales, Rocket City, Custom PC, DRP, 3Wide TV, of course. You guys do a great job every single week for us, and I'm really glad you guys were able to cover this week's charity race. Coleman's Care, Darling Decor, pretty much everybody that sponsored the race, everybody that took part in it. I'm not going to name all the drivers, but I'm just glad everybody put in and wanted to join us on this because it was a really good time. I've heard nothing but really good reviews for it, so we'll probably do another one in the future.
Yeah, definitely was a lot of fun and great to have them on board. Mike, anything that you would like to say before we let you guys go?
No. I think Chris mentioned all the sponsors, and yeah, like I said, hopefully we can get this race organized and have all of us back out on track on Coca-Cola when it comes out maybe in the new year.
NSRA versus TNR, the rematch coming soon. I'm looking forward to it. But folks, we're going to let you go. Have a good night. Congratulations on putting together such a spectacular event. And we'll talk to both of you again soon.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
All right, well, folks, that's going to do it here tonight. Just about, like you see up the top of the screen, NSRA versus TNR. What have we started here tonight, Bob? We have to stay neutral up here in 3Wide TV, but definitely going to be fun to see here going forward.
For sure. The grudge match will be returning very soon at yet another super speedway, and hopefully if things do start working out for us here at Coca-Cola Speedway, I would be all for it.
And looking at tonight's race results, Drew Ballesteros was actually not part of either of the leagues, coming home with the win here tonight. The ringer getting the job done. Jeffrey Johnson Jr. of the NSRA group, he finishes in second. Jason Gracias, your TNR Thornton Graphix Cup champion, finishing in third. Nicholas Bradley there in fourth. James Orello fifth. He led quite a few laps here tonight in that number 9 machine. Jason Freeman, 6th. He was involved in a couple of accidents. Bill Edwards, who had the save of the night, in my opinion, finishing down there in 7th. Tim Hammond in the 69, finishing in 8th. Mike Tellier in 9th. And rounding out your top 10, Doug Milliner.
And finishing in 11th, the 4 of Andrew Himmelman. 12th, the 16 of Brian Bradley. Austin Grover comes home 13th. In 14th, Matt Monticelli. 15th, Joshua Sobel. Jeff Wyatt in the 86 machine, finishing in 16th. Joe Heater, 17th. Zach Howell in 18th. In 19th, Barry Knapp, and rounding out the top 20 is the 55 of Stephen Dosiak Jr.
Yeah, a lot of those cars involved in late race accidents. Meanwhile, these drivers also involved in accidents. Philip Scott, 21st. Chris Darling, who has been, barely cleared and released from the infield care center somehow. J.R. Miller finishing in 23rd. Tough break for him right there towards the end of the race. Strong run from him. Tristan Maher, 24th. Jordan Shepler in 25th. Michael Mooney, 26th. Ben Mashburn, who always seems to have a rotten pool of luck here on 3Y TV, finishing down in 27th. JT Poole, 28th, after his engine blew up. Nathan Maurer in the Simbox machine, the 971. A tough break for him, also finishing 29th. Tony Lucarelli rounding out your top 30 and taking you through the end of the field. Garrett Gleason, representing Total Nonstop Racing League, only 12 laps in until he was out of the race. And Jeff Price in the number 14. But Bob, great race here tonight on 3Y TV, and of course now you're going to be able to take a little bit of a break as the TNR boys have finished for the end of the year, so hopefully you can have a great holiday season. And if you're of the TNR gang and you won't be back with us here on 3Y TV, we definitely invite you to watch us here with the NSRA on Friday night, Simbox Truck Series. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss it. But if we don't get to see you in the chat, have a great holiday season, Bob.
Yeah, you as well, Peter. Happy holidays to you and your family. I know personally I'll be checking out a lot of these Simbox truck races here Friday nights. There's some fantastic racing, and the broadcast obviously second to none with you, Peter, here on 3Y TV. So it's always a great time to watch these races, and it's always exciting to be able to tune in Friday nights and watch these guys go at it.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a lot of fun. Even if it's just on in the background, it's something on, and hopefully you guys can get a little bit of enjoyment out of it. Do you want to mention Drew Ballesteros, your winner tonight, walks away with $165. Jeffrey Johnson Jr., $120. Jason Gracias, $100. And then Nicholas Bradley and James Orello also picking up money in tonight's race. So big congratulations to him, to both of them, excuse me. Fourth place of Bradley picking up $60, and the fifth place driver, Lorello, picking up $35. So hopefully that money, we'll see whether or not it all ends up back in charity, but definitely a big shout out to everyone here tonight who did pay the entry fee, and that money does go to charity. Very, very cool. Big shout out to the leagues putting this all together. But Bob, final thoughts?
Well, final thoughts. What a fantastic race. And really just wishing everyone watching this race a happy holidays. And if you get the chance, make sure you check out the Secret Families charity. All the info is in the link in the description below. Make sure you check them out. And if you get a chance, please donate and really help out some very deserving families here with the Secret Families charity.
Absolutely. Link in the description. Before we go, I want to give a huge shout out to, of course, all of the folks who made this race special. I know we've gone through them a couple times, but there we go again. NSRA, TNR, NEPA, Dent Repair, NEPA Cornhole, Thornton Graphix, Max Graphics, Brookstone Animal Hospital, What's the Scoop, Garrett's Auto Sales, Rocket City Custom PC, DRP, Dunn Raceway Park, 3Y TV, Choman's Care, and Darling Decor. And of course, our friends over at Sim TV for giving us these awesome camera angles that we bring you each and every week, like this one, so you can see high atop Talladega Superspeedway. But for myself, Peter Short, and Bob Giaquinto, I will see you hopefully here on Friday night for the Simbox Truck Series. But otherwise, have a good holiday, stay safe, and we'll see you again here on 3Y TV. See ya!